Talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
And good morning. It is a Tuesday edition of the program. Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. We can talk about the Orioles game, but why would we do that? I don't hate myself.
Because we're Baltimore sports.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
They look good. Well, I don't know if they look good, but they were competitive for 6 innings. Oh my God. He should have hit, I don't know, 8 more maybe, and then maybe they would have had a chance.
Well, I mean, would there have been runners on base?
Probably not.
Well, then they wouldn't have.
Well, they would have had a chance.
8 more wouldn't have done the job.
8 more would have given them a chance. It would have given somebody else an opportunity.
Yeah, man. They played a baseball game in Philadelphia, and it happened. And I think that's all I got. I think that's about it.
Yankees lost.
That's all.
That's
Right. They find the audio. They were like killing. Go to Twitter and search Jock Peterson and see if you can find the clip of, I think it was Ryan Ruocco and David Cohn who were doing the game last night for the Yankees. And like they weren't, it wasn't out of line by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not trying to, it's just the juxtaposition of like how much they were going in on how Jock Peterson has fallen off.
Oh, and then he hits it.
And like how he doesn't even look the same anymore. And then a couple pitches later, boom, tie game. It's just it's not, again, they didn't do anything wrong. Like it's not like they were, I mean, Jock Peterson is terrible.
He's batting like, $150.
I don't even think that. I think it's worse than that.
110.
Yeah. And they're going, do you have it?
Yeah.
Okay, this is like the Yes Network from last night.
Jock Peterson, who has really struggled.
Stunning. Those numbers are absolutely stunning.
I mean, they're not wrong.
Peterson, who signed a 2-year, $20 million deal to come over here, hitting $126.
I just realized that like it takes a while because it's like a whole prolonged at that.
Last year with Arizona. Takes ball 1. And you can see the physique definitely has evolved for Jock.
Physique has evolved.
One-0. 2-0.
Yeah, this is.
The 2-0.
It's on me. I didn't realize how long the clip was.
Can I break it up?
I mean, we probably could have just. Look, this is what's going to happen. When we cut back to doing an hour a day, we will clean all this up. No, I mean, like, I don't want you to get rid of it. Like, no.
Well, no, I want to try to avoid any, trouble that we potentially get in.
Oh, because of how long the clip is?
We'll talk
yeah,
for 10 seconds
That's
here.
fine. That's a good point, right? We've broken it up. Now they can't. Yeah, that's a good point. We'll work on all these things.
Yeah.
There's going to be a new show, and when we do the new show, things will be different. That's my semi-promise. Semi. But only semi. Do we have the part where he hits the home run?
I think so.
Whatever. He hit a home run.
Use the clubhouse here from Aaron Boone, our manager's report.
Post-game
Coming up
promo.
next on Yes.
I mean, it was
What
about
happens next?
The game was about to be over. It was about to be done.
Hit in the air to right field and deep, and this game is tied.
Yeah, that's
David Williams serves it up.
that's on us. We didn't do that particularly well, but the point remains the same.
Slams it
Yep.
out.
I don't know about any of that. I don't know about any of that.
Just like their broadcast nailed it.
Yeah, they did. They got it. They got the job done. Yeah. So that was funny. That was funny. But yeah. Anyway, Orioles lost. So what do you want me to do? What do you want me to say here? They lost. Such is life. So I have no idea what our schedule looks like this morning. I am to understand that among the things we're going to do today, Mike Yam from the NFL Network is going to join us. He was actually at the stadium on Sunday night for Ravens practice.
We'll talk to him in 12 minutes.
Okay. Will Carroll's going to join us
He
at some point
will.
this morning?
We'll talk to him right after Mike Yam.
So your intent is to stuff 100 things into a short amount of time.
Isn't that what we always do?
All right, fair enough. Will Carroll, of course, our buddy, injury expert. What is debridement surgery? I swear to God, when I saw it yesterday, I was like, I thought it was a bridge. I thought like somebody had misspelled debridement. I legitimately don't know anything about debridement surgery. So Grayson Rodriguez will not pitch for the Orioles this season. I know everybody was doing the same bit yesterday. How can someone's season be over when it never started? You guys, right to the improv. Right to the improv. We'll talk about what it means, how we got here, how does this timeline work, all of those things we will discuss with our buddy Will Carroll. Also, we're going to check in with our friend Matt Valdez from down in D.C. at 106.7 The Fan and the Junkies. They debuted a new bit today. It's called the Owings-O-Meter. You might remember we did something very similar.
Oh, okay, I see.
And they're openly acknowledging it,
so
as we always say in
it's
radio.
a tarometer.
Right, it's the Owings-O-Meter. As we always say in radio, if you're stealing from me, you're stealing from somebody else, because we've all stolen from each other. And truth be told, a lot of my bits over the years have been inspired by the fact that I
Was the Lamar-O-Meter kind of? I mean, that was pretty original, wasn't it?
Original-ish. Like, I don't think anybody had a really low-rent looking.
Well, that was what made it so OG.
Right. That's why I liked it so much, is because of how that was the bit, and they're emulating that part of the bit. And I think it's what a lot of people liked, is how low rent it looked, which was the point of the Lamar-O-Meter. Like, it was supposed to be a very silly old radio bit. They're doing that now for Terry McLaurin with the Junkies, and I'm honored. Those guys have been friends for a long time. They're very good to me. I worked with them, obviously, but before that, I was a listener, and I think they're one of the best shows that's ever existed. So I love that they're doing the Owings-O-Meter. I think that's awesome. It's I think, what do they say that what's the purest form of flattery? What is that?
Is
the form,
copycat?
Yeah, but it's not that. What's the word? God damn! What happened to me?
No, I know exactly what
What am I trying to say? God. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. God damn. What is going on over here today?
Well, at least we figured it out now before.
Before the show started, 100%. Get all this out of the way, and then when the show starts, we're gonna be hitting our stride.
Are you ready? I'll hit the open then. We're set to go.
I think we've worked out all the problems. We got the clip figured out, right? I think it's right now is a good time for the show to start. I couldn't come up with imitation. There you go. There's Chris. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you, buddy. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. What? Why could I not come up with that? The hell is going on in my life? I need a day. I need maybe a month to reset my brain. But we'll talk to our buddy Matt Valdez about it. And Matt Snyder from CBS Sports will join us to talk some Orioles after the deadline and what the hell is going on there. And is there hope in the offseason? Like, can they solve the problems that are ahead of them again, the question is no longer about 2025. It's obviously about 2026. And as you know, I am skeptical about the Orioles' ability to get things figured out and compete again in 2026. So hopefully there'll be some encouragement from Matt Snyder. If not, I'll be in no worse shape. I know that much because I don't think things are looking great. Today's show brought to you by the Maryland 5-Star, which returns to Fair Hill this October up in Cecil County, the 5th edition of the Maryland 5-Star. It is a celebration of fall in Maryland. It is a world-class sporting event. It is just an awesome weekend. If you've never checked it out before, I really encourage you. I've been up a couple of times. I knew nothing about equestrian. I said, I want to know what this is all about, and I'm so glad that I did because it's an awesome, awesome experience. Again, go to Maryland 5-Star with the number 5, Maryland5star.us in order to get your tickets for the 2025 version of the Maryland 5-Star. All right, I have no more thoughts about the like. You want to say anything legitimate about Grayson Rodriguez? I don't know that anybody, after a certain point, that any of us actually even expect Grayson Rodriguez to pitch this season. And this is the problem now, is that we've entered into it's always something territory with Grayson Rodriguez, and this is why you need 9 starting pitchers. I think there's a lot of like revisionist debate, and some of this popped up because of what Zach Moore and I were talking about yesterday, but a lot of debate in the mentions about Mike Elias's wording and how much went wrong versus what needed to go right. Did everything my issue with what Mike Elias said is that I don't think a lot of things went wrong for the Orioles. I think a reasonable amount of things went wrong for the Orioles. I think it would have required a lot of things that we couldn't have expected to have gone right for it to have worked out the other way. If you want to say, well, we didn't think it would be this bad, sure, but the problem is nothing about the team that was put together looked like a team that could compete for a World Series. For that to have been the case, you would have needed an extraordinary amount of things to have gone far more right than could be reasonably expected. This was far closer to the reasonable expectation territory than winning the World Series would have been with the team that was put together. And we can go through but nobody expected that, like, Grayson Rodriguez wouldn't throw a pitch, and that's fine to an extent. Like, to an extent, you can say, you didn't expect that Grayson Rodriguez would go the entire year without throwing a pitch, except for, like, pitching injuries are baked into the cake now. And uniquely now with Grayson Rodriguez, it's just kind of part of his story. It's what people will come to expect from Grayson Rodriguez. And moving forward, it's very difficult to make plans for a baseball team involving Grayson Rodriguez being a significant part of the story. But the issue is that you really need 9 starting pitchers, and like 7 of them need to be reliable starting pitchers. Your 9th guy can be Cade Povich or Brandon Young, or, hey, in an emergency, we need somebody to make a couple of starts for us. It's got to be Chase McDermott. That can be your 9th guy, or Albert Suarez. You need to go into the year, if you want to try to compete to win a World Series, with 5 unquestionable guys in your rotation, probably more like 6, because there's the likelihood is somebody's not going to start the season in the rotation. And if you've got another guy who's hurt that might come back in June, that can be your 7th guy. And then an 8th guy who's like a project that can be a long reliever, but you know could be a starter. That's how you need to build a rotation. And the Orioles didn't do that. So my issue with what Mike Elias said is that I don't think a lot of things went wrong. I think like the way that you constructed your rotation, this is what you were going to get. You were counting on Tomo Sagano. Sagano wasn't a project or a maybe. He was it had to work out for someone who had no track record. And as we said before the season began, could it? Well, I mean, we didn't know. We couldn't foresee the future. And hell, after a couple of starts, we thought it was, right? But in a world where a lot of things go far better than expected, then the Orioles could have competed to win a World Series. If what you want to say is, well, they shouldn't be a team that's 10 games under 500, that's where the bad luck comes in. They were a team that on paper should have been like a 500, maybe slightly above, and the bad luck has been meant that they're a team that's 10 games under 500. Like, we're kind of splitting hairs. If the goal for the season was to be 500 or like a game or two above, then that was a bad goal, and that was a poor job of constructing a roster. The goal should have been to win a World Series. And the roster that was constructed was not a roster that was constructed that was good enough to win a World Series. So that's my issue with what Mike Elias said. Now, as I say a million times, like, guys go in front of cameras and, microphones, and they just say things. And I don't know how much of any of it means. I don't know what they believe internally is the problem between process and result. That's always my thing, process versus result. Publicly, they're projecting that the result is the problem. Most of us would say we think the process was at least a good part of the problem. What's the line between the two? I don't know. And maybe if the microphones weren't on and there weren't cameras in front of them and you were just sitting down in a room with those guys, they might acknowledge, hey, we know the process was the problem too. We're just not going to say that out loud. That's my only concern, is truth serum, as our friend Drew Forrester likes to say. What do you actually think? Do you actually think that you built a team that was good enough to win a World Series and you got bad luck? Or do you know we didn't do that, we failed, we screwed up, and we got to do better? And that part does matter. And they, as much as we would like them to address that publicly, they don't have to address that publicly. They have to have that answer internally, and they have to have a plan moving forward. Grayson Rodriguez allegedly could be part of the equation next year. But the plan can't be that we've got one of our top 3 starting pitchers for next year. It's Grayson Rodriguez. Because we have no idea what Grayson Rodriguez might be. Talk more about it with Will Carroll in a couple of minutes. In the meantime, Ravens and Colts kicking off joint training camp practices starting today in Owings Mills, as everyone says, with the de-emphasis on preseason games. The greater emphasis is now on these joint practices. And this is where you get to see ones go up against ones and measurement that you don't get in preseason games because those players don't play. I would still say personally, I minimalize some of that because you don't really want those guys going gung-ho in these circumstances. But I get it. Those guys aren't even going to play on Thursday night. They're going to go out there and get practice reps against, and it probably won't be ones versus ones, it's more like ones versus twos, against someone wearing another color today out in Owings Mills. Joining us now to tell us a little bit more about what he saw from the Baltimore Ravens as he was at stadium practice on Sunday for NFL Network. He is Mike Yam, and he is with us this morning here on GCR. Mike, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Hope you enjoyed your trip. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Yeah, Glenn, appreciate the invite. I'm actually at BWI right now. So if you do hear a little bit of background noise, just at the airport making my way to Minnesota to see the Vikings. But it was awesome to see this Ravens team for a second year in a row around this time, just to kind of gauge where their team is at. And I don't know what your take is, but, last year I walked off the practice field and I thought to myself, like, my God, how many teams could possibly be better than this team? I mean, the roster was loaded, and clearly they didn't get to the point where they wanted to, which is win a Super Bowl. But this year, I'm leaving the stadium thinking to myself that this might be the best team in the NFL for as good as I thought they were a year ago. I think this roster is even better, which should be very scary for the rest of the league.
Mike, from a pure roster, player to player, I 100% agree with what you're saying. And I guess the comparison to last year is we didn't know how bad the defense was going to be to start the season, but I think we have every reason to believe that the defense should be able to get off to a much better start this year. I guess the eternal question becomes, and it's the thing we struggle with, and how does it become different in the postseason, right? Like, what do we gauge during the year that tells us how it's going to be different this time around should they get back into the playoffs?
Well, I think there's two different layers to this. Number one, you're right. I don't think anyone could have foreseen, the first 10 weeks of the season on the defensive side looking the way that it did. We knew that there'd be some level of adjustment going from McDonald to Orr, and I don't think that was lost on anyone. But to see a stark difference between, really the first 10 weeks of the season and the last 7, I think there's a reason for optimism heading into this year. I think the use of Kyle Hamilton, in the second half of the season, I think was very apparent. I think had a really big impact on what we saw in terms of that final product. But, then all of a sudden you look at this draft class and, just getting eyes on Malachi Starks. I mean, I thought he looked great yesterday. And I hate to build up too much of, hey, it's a practice, what are you seeing? But the reality is, and Glenn, you know this, man, this offense is loaded. So he's going to get better just from practice reps alone. Take it a step further, just being around our guys at NFL Network. I mean, this was the guy that they felt was the best corner in the draft. When I was doing the draft for NFL.com, I'm sitting there going, Mike Green falling to them when he did. I go, this is the most Ravens pick ever. Of course they get one of the premier, defensive players in this draft that, quite frankly, is going to help get pressure on quarterbacks. Led the country last year, FBS play, I think it was 17 sacks. I think all in all, you feel good and optimistic about what this team is. But I think you hit the nail on the head with regard to how do you get over the hump? How do you get to the Super Bowl? And more importantly, for the city, how you go and win it. And I think to me, I know winning is hard, and I think sometimes that's lost on the fans, and winning in the postseason is really difficult. I hate to bring this up because it's probably a little PTSD for Ravens fans, but 2 years ago, you're talking about a Zay Flowers fumble. Last year, talking about a Mark Andrews drop. What are we talking about? One play, two plays, 2 years in a row? That could be the difference. And they didn't even play great against the Chiefs in that AFC Championship game 2 years ago, and yet they were still in a position to go and knock out the champs. Like, I still look at this team and go, oh my God, less concerned about the regular season, more concerned obviously about the postseason, but just get to the dance. And I think there's a lot of teams, not just in the NFL, across all sports, who feel really great about their roster. And it's just one moment that really could derail the season. And unfortunately for this team, it happened 2 years in a row.
Mike Yam, NFL Network, with us here in GCR. Mike, every point you make in there is well taken. And it's weird because I almost feel like there's like a legitimate on-field implication to their postseason struggles and then how it's affected them mentally and what that might have been. You bring up the Zay Flowers thing where he's just aggressively trying to make a play. Not even the drop from Mark Andrews, but the other fumble last year where he's aggressively trying to do a lot in that situation.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, as you bring up Mike Green, from the actual football standpoint of what could be different, the Ravens have really struggled. As good as they've been at generating pressure during the regular season, despite not having a Terrell Suggs-type player on their roster. Kyle Van Noy's been a godsend, right? Jadeveon Clowney had a great year 2 years ago. He possesses where they were able to get him as far as trying to finally get over the hump, that could be a legitimate difference if he can be that type of impact maker.
Look, I think your point is well taken, and I definitely agree with you. And you're right. I don't think you're putting the hopes and dreams of this team's defense in terms of leading the NFL in sacks on the shoulders of a rookie. And I think that would be overstating it. I know you're not going there. What I would say is collectively this unit is scary. And for as much as we can make about the pressure that's up front, because those are the guys that are getting after that quarterback. And Kyle Van Noy had, I know you name checked him, but had a terrific season last year. And quite frankly, I didn't think would be able to generate those types of numbers that he did. What I would focus in on is this team's secondary. They bring in a guy who I don't think is that far off from his peak, as long as he can stay healthy, in Jair Alexander, which to me, I did a double take when that news hit my inbox. And, I made reference to Malachi Starks on top of some of the pieces that they already have. What I would contend is, does that extra second of coverage help in the backfield give enough to the front end of that defense that's getting after that quarterback? Is that enough to help create, some more of those pressure numbers, increase the pressure, and then obviously get some of those sacks? So that's what I would point to as, maybe the strength of this team's defense in a lot of ways. But, at the end of the day, for as much as we want to make of this team's defense, and we can point to that, some of the issues they had on the first half of the season. I would argue like these are like nitpicks. I think there's, most teams across the board in the NFL would love to have this roster have these sorts of questions and concerns heading into the season. But I still think the world of this team, and I know they got to get it done, but they're knocking on the door. And look, even in those pressure situations, when last year at this time, we were on the practice field, Lamar Jackson stops by the set. We talked to him, and he's talking about that AFC Championship game, and it was something that he was thinking about this year. I didn't get an opportunity to catch up with Lamar after practice, but Roquan sat down. We talked to him last year, and I brought that up, and Roquan's like, of course we're thinking about it, and there's pressure for us to get it done. But as weird as this sounds, I almost don't think the team feels it the way that other teams would. And maybe it's because of the time of the year that we're in, but most teams would be answering these questions and maybe getting a little annoyed or having like these stock kind of answers that are that they're repeating. I felt like a genuine, like, hey, we feel confident where we're at right now, and it's one or two plays away. And I don't know if that's the disposition of a lot of either great players or great teams that have been questioned about winning, a championship, not just in the NFL, but across the board.
He is Mike Yam, NFL Network. He is with us here on GCR. Mike, I almost feel like I'm worried that I'm being too bullish. Like for every pratfall that could exist in a very difficult division, it's just hard for me to believe that a Bengals team with like very little defense and a Steelers team that it's not even really an Aaron Rodgers it's like I just don't think their roster's all that. Like TJ Watt's great, right? DK Metcalf's great, but I just don't think they have a great roster, and certainly don't have a quarterback that at this point in his career I don't see there being serious dangers or threats. Am I being too dismissive of the division when I say that?
Look, I do think that top to bottom, this division is ridiculously competitive. Right. And the only pushback that I would have, because I agree with your assessment, look, this is Baltimore, and it's the Ravens team roster alone. I mean, I don't even want to speak into the ecosphere what would need to happen for this team not to go and win the division. At least in my mind, it would be a catastrophic disappointment for that to happen. I could story it, but it really comes down to just gut health is really what it would come down to for this team not to get there. I'm with you on Pittsburgh. I think there's a little bit of reputation. That's the Tomlin factor, and of course the shiny
they're going to win 9 games.
Aaron Rodgers.
Right, they're going to win 9 games. No question. That's the way it works.
No question. No question. The one team that I would say, like, I think does have the chance is Cincinnati, because I do look at some of those games that they played last year and these close defeats without really getting, really just having nothing on the defensive side. And, I'm optimistic they can figure it out with Trey Hendrickson. Obviously they did with the Shamar Stewart. That will certainly help, but you go back, Glenn, a couple of years ago when they get to the Super Bowl, and I know, look, we're both in the media, and I get the conversation around quarterbacks, and, Joe Burrow was a surgeon that season, and he is one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. Yep. But you look at that Cincinnati team, like, that defense was legit. Yep. And as they started to pay their offensive guys and making sure that guys like Joe Burrow were going to get taken care of, and I know that's the business and that's what's going to happen, and they started losing some of those pieces to that defense. It's not the same defense from a few years ago. That was very obvious watching them last year. But I'm with you. Like, Baltimore to me, and maybe I'm the guy you shouldn't be asking this question to, because the last 2 years at NFL Network, like, we walk into production meetings and, I grew up in the Northeast, I'm a Giants fan, but I walk in and people think I'm a Ravens fan. Lamar's my favorite player in the league to watch. Like, I just think that I think he's just so darn entertaining. He never takes a big shot. He's slippery as hell, underrated as a passer, and I think people are starting to catch up to this. But every year I'm like, hey, 2 years ago I was like, hey, Lamar's going to be the MVP in the preseason. I never get anything right. I got that one right, but I said they're the best team in the NFL. They're going to win a Super Bowl. That didn't happen last year. It didn't happen 2 years ago. But I would double down this year. Like, we go back. I'm heading to Minnesota to see the Vikings. I'm going to be hanging with Brian Baldinger. I think Baldy was here in Baltimore. I want to get his take on it. I'm going to say, Baldy, like, this is the best team in the league. Like, I just don't know. The only other team that I would point to is Philadelphia, the reigning champs, because of some of the pieces that they have. But, pound for pound, like, I would never, like, last year at the Super Bowl, I thought that whole Super Bowl week we're doing shows, and I didn't say anything on air, but off air I start talking to our guys, and I'm like, am I the only one that thinks Philly's going to smash these dudes? Like, I felt like weird saying it. I would never say, like, if you told me at any point this season, hey, like Baltimore's roster versus Phillies, I'm like, yo, dogfight, let's go, let's see it play out. And there's no way Baltimore's going to get smashed in a game like that. I'm so confident. So I feel like I'm like part of the cheerleading squad for this Ravens team. Glad, and maybe not the best guy to ask this question.
No,
to.
the problem is I know everything that you're feeling, and like from a sheer, I was doing some shows out in Vegas last week, and people out there are asking me about it. I'm like, I like everything about this team. I'm not telling you. I bet all of the offensive overs. Like, I love everything about this team other than the part where are they going to win a Super Bowl? Because I don't know that answer. I can't give you that. But everything else about the team I love. Mike,
Well,
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, the only thing that I would add there is like at this time every single year we point to what 4 teams we feel like are the elite ones in the NFL that we go, oh, okay, cool. Like they're one of those teams, and to me, I don't want to say the window's closing because that's like an overstatement, and I wouldn't go there. But I would say is like they are poised to get there, and they should get there. And if they don't win a Super Bowl this year, I think it has less to do with roster construction, the way the roster's built and player execution. And maybe it is player execution. That's probably, I'm probably not voicing this correctly, but it's just really hard to win this damn game. And sometimes like it's all those other elite teams that we think are going to be there are the ones at the end. And it's just that one play you got to be able to finish. And hopefully this year it's that year for the Ravens.
Mike, what all can we plug for you? I know you said you're headed to Minnesota. Can we plug the book? Can we plug social? What all can we plug for you?
Option C, all the above. No, we're on our way. We got Inside Training Camp tomorrow, NFL Network. We'll be there with Brian Baldinger, all things Vikings, and we'll be dipping around. I appreciate you mentioning the book, a huge passion project for me. It was a children's book. It's called Fried Rice and Marinara. Huge. I absolutely love putting it together. It's on Amazon. If anyone has a little one in their life that enjoys books, I would recommend the one that I did. And then on social media at Mike_Yam on IG or Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it nowadays.
Mama called it Twitter. I'm calling it Twitter situation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way that it's going to work. Mike, great stuff, man. Thank you for squeezing us in while you're sitting in the airport
anytime, man.
morning.
Anytime. I'm glad it worked out.
Would love to
I'm
do
glad
it
it worked
again.
out.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, anytime.
Mike Yam, NFL Network. Appreciate him hopping on with us this morning after he was in town this weekend and sharing some thoughts. And we're all, we're having the same conversation almost every day. It's the same thing, but that's what we're all dealing with. It's the conversation that you're having with your buddies. You like everything about the Ravens. Everything about the Ravens. Other than the part where, will they win the Super Bowl? I don't know. Because I've liked everything about the Ravens the last couple of years, and they haven't won the Super Bowl in those years either. And that's the reality of the circumstances. I don't know. I can't tell you whether or not they're going to win the Super Bowl. That's it. I can't tell you. What I say, and I'll be writing about it for the next print issue of Press Box. By the way, this one's still available for the next few days at least. This print issue of Press Box with Carmelo Anthony on the cover, celebrating his Basketball Hall of Fame induction. First ever Baltimore Basketball Hall of Famer. You got like a week or so more to get that one before it's gone. And in the next print issue of Press Box, I'll address my best, some of it is just dumb luck. Like, is this just the year where the chakras are all in line and the planets line up and everything works out for the Ravens? But some of it I do think is a football thing. And yes, a lot of it is. I know Dan Graziano from ESPN wrote about how they're obsessed with turning the ball over less in the postseason, that they think that's part of the problem. And I do think that's part of the problem. But I also think part of the problem is they need their defense to turn the ball over more. They need more big plays from their defense. And I'll be writing about that in the new print issue of Press Box that hit stands this month with some data about those issues. Some of it, again, they got to turn the ball over less offensively. They need to turn the ball over more defensively. But I don't know how much we can gauge about that from what happens during the regular season. I don't know that that's going to give us an answer as to whether or not they're ready to do it. I think that they're missing that guy that can be relied upon for that. I don't know that Mike Green will become that guy, but boy, it would help. Boy, it would go a long way if that were to be the case. From a football standpoint, that's about all I have for what will be different or what can be different for the Ravens to finally get over the hump. Otherwise, it just very much comes off to me like does it all work out? Do the right guys stay healthy? Do you put yourself in the best position? What's the health of other teams? Where are the Bengals at the end of the year? Is their defense somehow better than we expect it to be? I don't know how, but if that's the case, it changes a lot. If it's not, hard-pressed to imagine them legitimately competing. You can go get this. I mentioned that your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find Pressbox. You can also still read it at PressBoxOnline.com, as those that knew Carmelo Anthony best tell the story of how Baltimore shaped his Hall of Fame career. That print issue of Pressbox still available, and then it'll make way for a football-themed print issue of Pressbox that will be hitting newsstands just about a week or so. We're going to switch gears this morning. We're going to get back to baseball and some baseball conversation. Obviously, yesterday we find out definitively that Grayson Rodriguez will not be pitching this season. So now, let's try to find out how we got here and what it means moving forward. Joining us now, he is our guy that we turn to whenever we have questions. Like when I hear the words debridement surgery and I say, what the hell is that? Well, I know a man who can answer those questions for us. He is the injury expert himself. He is Mr. Will Carroll, and he is back with us now here on GCR. Will, it's Glenn. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's always great to be on with you, but it's always bad for the Orioles or the teams you're following. But this one's pretty simple. So let me break this down in a couple ways. First, debridement is a very simple, it's a big word for cleaning stuff out. So what I want you to think of is the elbow itself. It is just a hinge. It's one of those simple machines that we all kind of understand. I am not a fix-it guy, but I can fix a hinge. I mean, there's not much to it. That's why Tommy John surgery is kind of simple when you get down to it, because all you're doing is fixing a hinge. Now, that's not what Rodriguez is having. They're going to go in there and clean it out. Are there little gritty bone fragments? Are there bone chips? Is the articular surface a little rough? Do they have to smooth that out? But there are two things they're going to be doing as well as that. The first is they're in there. Why not look around? They're going to take a look at the UCL, the Tommy John ligament. You're going to say, hey, how's that thing look? We're here. Might as well look at it. So I think they're going to look at it. I think they're going to see it's fine, and then they're going to move on. The second thing is they're going to look at what's called the olecranon, which is basically the point of your elbow. If you think about that hinge, if you extend your elbow out fully, you'll feel those two bones touch. Well, if you move it really, really fast, and you do it hundreds of times the way a pitcher does, sometimes they bang together. And if you do that, there are situations where it will fracture. But most of the time, just little pieces come off. It gets a little rough, and that's the damage that they're going to be cleaning up. So are they seeing that that bone is breaking down? And that would be the why. If they can figure out the why, they can try to fix it. They can change his mechanics. They can change his anatomy by grinding it down a little bit more. But it's not very difficult. This is carpentry. If you think of a hinge and your door at home, if you ever slam it open and it hits the doorstop or hits the wall and you get that big bang, if you do that enough, man, your door is going to need some work. And that's what Rodriguez's elbow is right now.
So I guess I asked this. The way that this all has unfolded this year, right? Like the layers to this, where it started with what we were told was like sort of an elbow issue, and then there was some word about the lat. Like, does all of this make sense that this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is all what we call kinetic chain issues. You're putting a lot of force into every pitch. You're going from the ground force of his foot against the mound to releasing the ball and trying to put 100 miles per hour of energy. We can go into newtons and kilojoules and things like that, but I don't want to confuse anybody. But it's a lot of force. And that force has to go somewhere. Not all of it goes into the ball. If it all went into the ball, if you ever see one of those guys throwing an easy 98, they're transferring the force more effectively. That's what you really want. If you're not transferring it more effectively, if you're creating changes there, that kinetic chain is going to have a weak link. It's often the elbow. It's sometimes the shoulder. Sometimes it's the back. If you remember with Steven Strasburg, it went straight down the kinetic chain. He had elbow problems. He had shoulder problems. Then he had a trap problem. Then he had a lat problem. Then he had a back problem. Straight down. You could see where the next injury was going to be. They just couldn't catch up to it. They'd strengthen one thing. They'd fix one thing. They'd do a surgery on one thing, and the next thing would break. That's kind of what's happening with Rodriguez, though it's a little all over the place. Lat injuries are a little bit different. That one's just about spin. We're seeing more of these because we can now measure spin, so guys are chasing spin, and when you pull down with that lat, sometimes it breaks. So that's not uncommon, and just the fact that in this case, what he was doing wasn't working. So I think this all comes down to his biomechanics. What is he doing that they can fix while still being effective and healthy? They haven't figured out that healthy part. I'm curious if the effective is still in there, though he is still young.
Under the Knife is Will Carroll Substack. He's with us here on GCR. Will, let me ask two questions. One, there are people, again, most of us are idiots, right? We have no idea what we're talking about. But comfortably we'll go on social and say, this was always going to be the case. He was always going to need surgery. Why didn't they just get it out of the way in April? Can you walk us through, could they have known that this was going to need to happen? Like, how does this come about that you don't know until now? And then it doesn't make that much of a difference if you do it now versus trying to do it. Like, can you walk us through that part of it?
Yeah. Were there little bodies and problems in it? Probably. Was it enough? Did the doctor see it? Did the MRI catch that there was a big bone spur in there, that there was cartilage damage? Probably not. I mean, doctors aren't stupid people. Well, most of us are idiots. Most doctors, especially the ones treating professional athletes, are decidedly not. They don't want to do surgery in situations because you always want to avoid the surgery. People say, why are you taking 6 weeks when you could have just had the surgery? Well, that 6 weeks might have avoided the next 6 months. So that's usually a gamble you want to take. In this case, they thought they could get him back through it. This isn't one doctor. This is a number of doctors, all saying the same thing. Almost every time you see any sort of situation like this, you're going to have a team doctor, a player doctor, somebody they consult with, and often a third. It is and often more. I can't tell you how many cases where they talk about a pitcher is going to consult with Keith Meister, who's the Rangers team doctor, does a lot of elbow. Almost assuredly, every time you hear Keith Meister's name, you might as well just put in Jeff Dugas's, who's in Birmingham now. He took over for Jim Andrews, Neil Alitrai. In almost every case, they send the file to all three of them, often more, and they consult back with the team doctor. They consult with the agent and the doctor that he feels comfortable with. This is usually one of the three of them. So there's kind of a small number of doctors. You could put Chris Ahmad from the Yankees. You could put Tim Kremchek from the Reds. Dave Olchek just recently passed away, unfortunately. So he's not a consultant anymore. But there's a very small number of people, but they don't always agree. But you're seeing the same really, really good surgeons saying roughly the same thing.
What about the idea that for Grayson Rodriguez now, like it's always something, right? That like when guys go through this is who they are. This is what you should expect. You can't count on him. It's just going to be something else. What do you make of that you always hear in situations like this?
Well, you have to wonder in those cases when you hear that, then why doesn't the team say that? Why don't they just say, not my problem anymore? It's because they've seen something, or they continue to see something, or convince themselves something's still there. I don't know, but I've seen Grayson Rodriguez pitch, and he's pretty darn good at it. So at the time where he's still relatively cheap, where he's still relatively young, where they think that lightning is still inside his arm, they're going to try to get that back. Is it going to happen? I don't know. We've seen guys that are late bloomers. We've seen guys that are unhealthy until they are healthy. We've seen guys that are healthy until they're not healthy, and then they never get it back. We see guys like Cal Ripken. Man, Cal Ripken's the ultimate. He never got hurt. He did, but he was always able to get through it. It was always minor enough. But at the end of his career, he got hurt all the time. And one of the things they said was he didn't even know where the training room was most of the time. So he didn't know how to recover from those little injuries that pretty much everybody else had figured out. So he descended pretty quickly at the end of his career, as people in Baltimore saw. We say that a lot. I actually call it Iron Man syndrome now. Johnny Damon was great until he wasn't. Then he couldn't stay healthy, and then he was out of the game when he was 34. So we do see that pattern a lot. But we've also seen guys who are injured, have Tommy John surgery come back, and at 27, suddenly they turn into a good pitcher, or they learn something. They change something. Even the great pitchers. I mean, Roger Clemens was told he wasn't good enough anymore. Went to Toronto, learned the split finger fastball, and pitched for another 20 years.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it seemed not 20, but yeah, I mean, more or less, right? I'll run this one by you. If this is it, right? Like, if there's nothing new that pops up, what would the timeline be for Grayson Rodriguez?
Yeah, he's going to be throwing again in about 6 to 8 weeks, and that's going to be a good indication. So towards the end of the season, you'll want to see him play and catch. Simple as that. The normal timeline for return from this, and we've had some pitchers, a lot of pitchers that have had similar things and come back. The normal timeline's 3 to 4 months. So it's one of those issues where, there's no games in 3 to 4 months. So you're hoping he's going to have kind of one of those normal off seasons. It's not going to be, but I mean, we've seen. I'm trying to think who's there. Walker Buehler's the one that comes to mind. He had very similar surgery early in his career. Obviously, he had Tommy John a couple of years after that, but related, I don't know. Michael Pineda had it and came back very well. So, and his was closer to 3 months. So we've seen these guys, and there's often really no long-term impact.
I hope you're right about that, Will Carroll. I hope that's the case. I'm
not saying it's not going to be another thing.
Yep.
That's the thing. That's the thing with Rodriguez, is the best predictor of injury is previous injury, and his file's getting awful thick, Glenn.
I feel like that's where a lot of us are, and that's why we keep coming back to, it's just going to be something else. Or, the other thing you'll hear too is like, well, he'll get it all figured out once he's on another team at some point. Like, that's the other thing.
Which sometimes that's the case. And this is a real thing. I mean, sometimes you just don't gel with the pitching coach, which is why they change so often. Sometimes some guys do, sometimes some guys don't. Changing is hard. Let's say this is a biomechanical issue, and there are tools. There are things I know the Orioles have, or they won't admit to it, but they could say, is the elbow slamming shut? Is he putting more stress on his elbow with every pitch? Is he overstressing the lat because he's pulling down? How have his biomechanics changed from last year to this year? There are a lot of questions they can ask and answers they can actually get to now with all these tools. But also, Grayson Rodriguez made the major leagues. He's one of the best pitchers around.
Yeah.
There's not very many people that can do what he does, so it's hard for them to change. Not only that, if you did something thousands and thousands of times, roughly the same way, and created all those muscular and neuromuscular pathways, it's hard for somebody to throw differently and to change the things they need to change if it's a biomechanical problem. It is really, really tough to change. I go back to something. You'll remember Felix Hernandez, a great pitcher with the Mariners.
Yep.
He had the biggest head whack. If you remember early in his career, his head would come off to the first base side. His hat would fly off sometimes. He wore a hat that was one size too big because he thought it looked cool. But that head whack was so off balance. And I asked the pitching coach at the time, I was like, hey, what are you going to do to fix that? He goes, fix that? Why would I fix that? He's going to be Rookie of the Year. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. What if I break him? That's how he came to me. And that's how a lot of pitching coaches and pitchers are.
Yeah, it works,
they
right?
got there doing what they were doing, even if it was damaging.
It's very interesting. And how dare you, as you refer to him as a Mariners legend, not recognize Orioles spring training legend, Felix Hernandez.
That's very true.
Show
very
some
true.
respect, please. You remind everybody about the Substack?
Yeah, it's undertheknife.substack.com. We're taking a look at all the injuries. We'll have a lot on Grayson Rodriguez, most of which I just told everybody. But we'll see how Aaron Judge plays tonight. We'll see how the rest of the 8,000 injured pitchers around the league are. See who's going to be able to come back. Because we've got a lot of rehabbing pitchers, Glenn. A lot.
Not a problem here, but none of that matters to us, man. Like, none of that is relevant to us at this point. Other than maybe we'll see if Zach Eflin can get back at some point, and it's worth putting a qualifying offer down for him next year and letting him try again for $20 million. Go check it out. Will Carroll, always appreciate you, brother. Thanks for hopping on with us this morning. Let's do it again soon.
Thanks a lot, Glenn.
Come back in. We're going to check in with our buddy Matt Valdez from the Junkies down in D.C. They've got a new bit that they're doing, and I'm excited about it. We'll tell you about it next. Glenn Clark Radio. Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
For fans of the Costas Inn, and who isn't, I have some great news. Now there's a second location to go along with 4100 North Point Boulevard. This one is at the Timonium OTB. This is Stan the Fan, and I have been a fan of the Costas Inn and Triantafalo's family for going on 30 years. They're open for lunch and dinner, same great Costas feel, same great menu and quality food you've been enjoying for well over 50 years. The exact address on your GPS is 2200 York Road, and their phone number at the new location is 667-406-1975. If you're new to the Costas experience, get ready for a real treat, all wrapped up in a new spacious dining room in Timonium at the OTB. If you want steamed crabs, you have them, and the full menu at 4100 North Point Boulevard. The number for reservations there at Costas, 410-477-1975.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, we celebrate the first ever Baltimore basketball player to reach the Naismith Hall of Fame as we talk to those who knew Carmelo Anthony best about how his Baltimore upbringing shaped his legendary career. Also inside, Bo Smolka profiles Ravens second-round pick Mike Green, and find our annual summer travel section with information on some of the best sporting events and activities in Maryland that your family can check out all summer long. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
Back in here on GCR as we continue on a Tuesday edition of the program, and this was fun. When I woke up this morning, I was getting through my morning routine, and then I go and I check Twitter, and I see this notice. And look, man, I say in radio all the time, you steal from me, you're stealing from somebody else. That's it's an old radio adage. Everyone says that because none of us have original ideas. And the irony is that a lot of us in this area were big listeners of the Junkies down in D.C., and a lot of our concepts came from listening to them and some of the bits and shtick that they would do on their show. And so it's quite flattering to find out that those guys have now repurposed a bit that we did on this show. Joining us now, my buddy, one of the biggest Baltimore sports fans that I know. He is, of course, one of the producers for the Junkies. He's our friend Matt Valdez, and he's back with us here on GCR this morning. Valdez, what's going on, brother?
Glenn, how are you?
I'm good,
Doing
dude.
well.
I'm good. I remember when we started doing the Lamar-O-Meter, you guys were ready to steal it like a day later.
We loved it. We loved it. It had the visual.
Right.
It had everything you wanted in a radio show bit.
It has to be campy. And I said that when we were talking about this morning. Like, it was why I loved it. It had to look low rent in order to be pulled off. So when I see what you guys are doing, I'm like, this is exactly what it's supposed to be with the Terry-O-Meter for a perfect radio bit. Is it supposed to look dumb? It's supposed to look like a 6-year-old put it together somehow.
It's a unserious way to talk about a serious topic that you're doing day in and day out.
Correct.
Look, it can be hard when you're hosting a show and producing a show to come up with new angles, new material. And if you're a casual listener tuning in a handful of times a week, you may not catch every single segment you do about Terry or Lamar, but as a host, it's almost like you're getting beaten over the head with the topic in every day, in and out every day. So you need to find a creative way, a creative outlet to talk about something, and then also acknowledge the fact that you're talking about it 24/7.
So it's the exact same concept. Remember, when we did the Lamar-O-Meter, it was, what is the percentage chance that Lamar Jackson is going to be the Week 1 starting quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens? Under whatever circumstance, him just choosing to play under the tag, whatever it was going to be, that was the concept. That's the same thing you guys are doing for Terry McLaurin, correct?
Yes, we kicked around what are the odds or the percentage that he signs an extension, what are the odds that he plays on his regular deal, and then it just became, what are the odds that he is suited up Week 1 for the Washington Commanders?
And so you guys,
it's simple.
Yeah,
it's simple. It's elegant. It's not convoluted. That's the perfect way to go about this meter.
Correct, because there's a million but that's all that what you're referring to is really all that fans actually care about, right? Like, the other stuff matters to the Commanders, or with Lamar, it mattered to the Ravens. Like, what does the deal look like? But the truth is, all that the fans and the people that are listening to the show really care about is, when I go to watch a football game in Week 1, is the player on the field that I want to watch play?
I'd say that's kind of true. Here in D.C., there is a huge Terry McLaurin affinity with the fan base, almost as much as, they feel bad for him since he had to deal with so many bad quarterbacks in his previous years, having to deal with Carson Wentz, the Heineke, the Haskins era, and
Sam
now
Howell.
that Sam Howell, and now that he finally has a guy that can get him the ball, it's almost like fans want to reward him for going through the quarterback depression that was in D.C.
I understand that part of it. I would also say that part of it's funny. I was out doing these shows in Vegas last week, and I've got a couple of buddies that are Commanders fans that are out there, and I'm like, you can't screw this up, right? Like, it just feels, whether it's smart to be paying a wide receiver at this age this amount of money or not, I don't know. But I feel like for that franchise, can you be all that worried about the smartest business versus we have finally been able to get this fan base back on board? We can't give back even an inch of the good nature and the good word that we have built up with this new ownership group.
I disagree with you, Glenn,
okay.
because believe it or not, there's going to be a lot of hard decisions for Adam Peters coming up next year. And the amount of money that you are saving on the contract with Terry can go towards a possible Laramie Tunsil deal that you're going to have to do if he plays well. What happens if Lattimore returns to a Pro Bowl form at cornerback? That's going to become expensive. Frankie Louvu, I believe his deal is going to be up. Debo's deal is going to be up. Are you going to want to re-sign him? And if he plays well, is he going to want big wide receiver money? You have Bobby Wagner, who's on a 1-year deal. There's a lot of financial decisions that Adam Peters is going to have to make next year and in the incoming years when Jaden's contract's going to come up, because we had to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
And every little bit that you save on the Terry McLaurin deal is going to go towards building a better overall team.
I hear you. I do. I hear you. But from a franchise, as you know, as a massive Ravens fan, that didn't have an effing wide receiver for like the entire history of the franchise, more or less. Like, once you have the quarterback in place, don't you have to prioritize, this is our way of winning. We are winning with the quarterback. We need to give the quarterback everything we can in order to win with him.
I would disagree with you. Again, I would say that if you really think Jaden Daniels is this top 5 elite game-changing quarterback, you don't necessarily need to give him help as a QB. I mean, look what they're doing in Buffalo with Josh Allen.
I can't believe you're saying this as someone who watched what Joe Flacco had to deal with in Baltimore. I can't believe you're saying this.
I've opened my eyes. Look what they're doing in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes.
Right, but
I don't mind you investing in a high-end tight end because they do more for less money. But if you're going to invest $90 million like the Cincinnati Bengals do with their wide receiver and quarterback, you're just going to have an empty defense. And for as much as we love offense in the NFL, it's hard to make the playoffs and make a run in the playoffs without a well-balanced team. Look at the Super Bowl this past year. Everyone said Patrick Mahomes is playing at a lesser level than he did before. ESPN can't stop debating if Jalen Hurts is good or not. These two quarterbacks aren't necessarily the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, I still think Mahomes is.
Last year,
yeah.
but they had the best teams. And if you're not allocating the money to the complementary pieces around your quarterback, you're gonna end up missing the playoffs or a first-round exit.
Boy, this is actually I bet this has been great for the last few months having this conversation because it works. It's good. I would say the Eagles became this because they had A.J. Brown. Like, I still say you need to have this guy on your roster.
It's the chicken or the egg argument that we're having. But the Terry thing is so complex because there's so many layers to it.
Well, and his age is part of it, yeah. Yes,
you have his age that's a part of it. You have this humble, great character dude who's going to a used car lot spouting off about the organization. You have Josh Harris, which was just mentioned today. Diana Rossini did the Ringer podcast, and she suggested that since Josh Harris has been burned by these large contracts like Paul George in the past, that he's becoming maybe a little more hands-on with the Terry McLaurin negotiation. You have so many layers to this onion that needs to be peeled. Not to mention you have precedent with DK Metcalf's contract, and now you have precedent with Mike Evans and Cortland Sutton's contract. So it's such a complex issue that the only way to simplify it is by having a dumb meter with Terry's face on it.
Right, and who's in charge? So who gets the final call of the meter? Like, how does that part work? Because for me, it was easy.
I don't know because it seems like our hosts think 100% that he's playing for the team regardless in week 1, and Cakes is the only one waffling a little bit. We got to have a little bit of waffle,
right? Otherwise, the bit doesn't work,
on.
Right? The bit doesn't work at all. But how much pushback have you guys gotten? Because I know you only started this today. What was funny to me was that overwhelmingly people loved the Lamar-O-Meter, right? Like overwhelmingly. People enjoyed it. They wanted to see where it was said every day. Oh, Griffin's going to find it because he still thinks we have it lying around the studio somewhere. Like that, overwhelmingly, I got that. But some within the building over there, some people that were like regulars of ours who said, you are encouraging the dumbest people in town to continue spouting off like the Ravens aren't going to keep Lamar Jackson. And for what it's worth, I always thought Lamar Jackson ultimately in my heart of hearts was going to get there, but I needed to reflect to your point that on this day he's demanding a trade, and on this day there's talk about this team being interested, and all of the things we had to cover every day. So I had to deal with a good amount of pushback during the course of doing it. Have there been anyone that's been like, you guys shouldn't be doing this?
Our host called it dumb to begin with, so that's not good. But I think what it helps do is it encourages the conversation.
Right.
Like there is a real possibility that Terry McLaurin holds out during the season.
Sure.
There is a possibility he's traded. I mean, he requested a trade.
Yep.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility he starts the season on the PUP list, a la Jonathan Taylor 2 years ago, and misses the first 4 games. So that way he can still get paid his salary while sitting out and also negotiating a new contract with Adam Peters. These are all possibilities. But for whatever reason, there's a lot of fans, and to be honest, there's a lot of radio hosts who won't consider these possibilities. And that's all we're trying to do is showcase that this isn't a 100% deal that can happen, that Terry will be suited up for the Commanders for hopefully a Commanders Super Bowl run for this area that you have been dying for so long. We're just trying to point out that there is a con to the pro of the Terry negotiation.
I think it's perfect. I love the fact that your hosts are no-selling the bit that they're doing on their own show. It's part of what I love about them.
You would be, Glenn, you would be so flattered by this. We printed out a picture of the Lamar-O-Meter, and we did it to scale as we looked over your picture. And we tried to look at it. What could we improve? What could we do better? What do we like?
I mean, we got a corporate I forgot that we had a corporate sponsor for the Lamar-O-Meter.
Hey, Drab said to me when we were constructing it, he said, "Hey, leave room for sponsors."
Yeah, 100%. It was part of what we were doing. We said, man, if this thing works, if it takes off, we can make a little money off of this thing, and we did. And the people got mad about that too. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man.
People get mad about everything.
Anything at all. Hey, are you as despondent as everybody else is around here about where the Orioles find themselves, and like convinced that like it might not happen next year either?
You know, it's so funny. I actually accepted Elias's apology.
No, you didn't.
I did. I did. It was one of those stars aligning bad scenarios for the team.
I disagree.
The season started so poorly. I've been banging the drum for this. What they need to do during this off season is they need to show the fan base they messed up. They need to go after some pitching.
Yes.
And they need to make a trade for Mackenzie Gore.
So
I don't care.
I'm listening on that. I had said Mitch Keller to me was the more practical. Like that's the guy that you don't have to pay Samuel Basayo in order to be able to get. But I'll 100% listen on Mackenzie Gore.
I mean, it'll be the Corbin Burns 2.0 trade, and this team isn't going to go out and spend money on a frontline starter. We saw that with Burns, even though they said they made an offer and he just wanted to go play in Arizona. Yeah. But this is a way to control a young, good arm at a cheap rate, and you have the prospects to fire out there to do it. And you learned from this season that pitching was the worst case scenario that this team had. So what can you do this offseason to alleviate it? Go get Mackenzie Gore.
Would you give up Kobe Mayo to get Mackenzie Gore?
In a heartbeat.
I mean, given their need for pitching, I probably would have to say the same thing at the time, but it's painful. It's painful.
What did I say to you last year?
Yeah.
My theory on Elias is that he covets these prospects like toys.
Oh, no doubt.
And he's afraid. He's afraid of the Stour situation.
Yep.
That's ultimately what he's scared of, because that will be a wrong move under his regime.
100%.
And he's scared. He's scared to make the move because he's scared of it not working.
Well,
but you know what? If you make the move, I'll be happy if you make the move, because you've shown me that you're not gonna do it. Just make the move at this point.
Man, it's painful, dude, because when you say you accepted the apology, my issue with the apology is him saying, well, we had bad luck. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think the process is the problem here, not the result. And that's, to your point, if they do correct and acknowledge that in the offseason and do something different, then we can say, hey, you understood too. But when you come out and say we just had, a lot of things had to go wrong in order to be here, I don't know, man. You didn't build a team that was going to win a World Series. Like this. Should they have been better than this? Yeah, they should have been better than this. But this was not a World Series caliber roster that you put together this offseason. And if you think this was just bad luck and you just need to go make another Tyler O'Neill type of move or Tomo Sagano type of move and it'll work out the next time, I'm very concerned about that.
They should have known. They should have known. We didn't know how bad it was to start, and we're not in those walls and in those meetings. And I feel like they probably had an idea of how bad it was, and we were just on cloud nine because we haven't had a winning team in forever in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So I think we were just everything was sunshine and rainbows when they knew that the injuries were stacking up. The team wasn't as healthy as they were. Maybe there's some infighting with Hyde and the players that was going on. I just didn't think we were privy to that. And knowing what we know now, if we can fix that going into next season, that'd be great.
Yeah, maybe get a manager. How about that? Like, let's start with like an actual manager and not just a guy that's going to say yes to whatever Mike Elias wants. I would start.
Trust me, I have a whole other theory that the games are just basically already simulated in his office before they even hit the field.
I think there's a lot more of that than people realize. I'm not, I just think that's the reality, and you got to be able to.
Elias is going to pick the guy that will run his simulation for him out there in the dugout.
That is part of my concern, pal. That is part of what I'm worried about. I genuinely flattered. It is an honor to have you guys doing this, and I will rip off something else that you guys do undoubtedly in the coming weeks and months because that's the way this all works. If it works for somebody else, it'll work for me.
We're just trading ideas over here.
1,000,000%. At Matt_Valdez. That's how you follow him. Of course, the Junkies. 106.7, 980, Monumental. Couldn't have more outlets. I think you're on in Richmond somewhere, maybe like everywhere in the world you can find the Junkies, of course. Love you, buddy. Appreciate you. We'll talk soon, all right?
Sounds good, Glenn. See you.
Matt Valdez with us here on GCR. It's a fun bit, man. I look back on it. Like, it was a lot of fun. And I was proud of it. Like, it wasn't, to me, a hack bit, the way that people were accusing. It was a reflection of the way that we all were feeling at that point. And I get it. This is what they're doing every day. They want to talk about other topics. The only thing they can talk about is what's going on with Terry McLaurin. That's it.
So are they going to have to do this again when Jaden Daniels needs to?
I mean, we'll see. That's still, I guess, at least a year or two away.
Should we do this again for... I don't
for
know.
what?
For the Lamar extension.
You want me to? Another Lamar-O-Meter. I mean, they do have to get another deal done. There is that. We had so much success with it that we had the immediate thought to try to translate it and do something else with it. We were like, well, how do we replace the Lamar-O-Meter with something else? And so we had the idea for doing a Rutch meter. I think we even made the Rutch meter.
Yeah, we
did. We not?
Yeah, I looked at it back there.
Never went up on the wall.
It doesn't need to be seen.
In hindsight, because the concept was, do the Orioles sign Adley Rutschman to a long-term extension? What a bad bit that would have been in hindsight. What a terrible, terrible bit that we would have just dragged on and not known when to kill off. It's like me not knowing exactly when to kill off Never Lose Ever, right? Like, this board probably needed to go
That's great.
a month ago, but, like, there was never that week where they just went 1-6, and I was like, all right, that's it. Maybe this week will be the week. Who are they playing this weekend at home?
The Athletics.
I don't know.
They better not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Also maybe they better. I don't know.
Yeah, and if they do, I assure you, if they go 1-5 this week between the Phillies and the Athletics, that will be enough. The board will come down. But imagine like our trouble of not knowing when to kill off the Rutch meter if we had started that. Like, when do you bury it? So that one didn't work. It's got to be genuine. It's got to be real. And I appreciate that. I think it's good shtick what they're doing. And I do think that the Commanders will figure it out. I do think that Terry McLaurin will play week 1. I think they will get a deal done with him. I think that ultimately they know how important that is, and there'll be a number, like a 3-year deal that they can work out.
It is fun. Like, looking back at the Lamar-O-Meter now, it's like, that was kind of fun.
Yeah. I mean,
like, it sucked.
It sucked,
it was like,
but it
now
was
now that he's here.
Correct. Like, we can sort of laugh about, like, the day that he wanted the trade and all those sorts of things. And it was just a reflection of the conversations that everyone was having. This is, if you walked around town, if you were going to the barber shop, if you were going to sit with the guys at the bar, that's all you guys were talking about. Well, what's Atlanta doing? Are they going to get, like, that's what we were trying to reflect. Proud of that content. Other content that we've done, not so much.
Like what?
I couldn't think of imitation is the sincerest. What did I say? Something's the purest form of
I said
copy. What the hell was that? What's going on with us?
Copycat.
All right, let's get back into some baseball conversation this morning. Joining us now from CBSSports.com, where he covers MLB. He is Matt Snyder, and he is with us this morning here on GCR. Matt, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's good to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking some time for us.
Sure thing. Good to chat with you.
Matt, we are in this like shifting conversation, as obviously 2025 no longer matters to the Baltimore Orioles. Mike Elias came out last week and apologized, but said a lot of things had to go wrong for the Orioles to be in this position. And I'm struggling with that because, one, there's a microphone in front of him, there's a camera on. He might just be saying, I never know exactly what to take from anybody in a front office or a management position when they're doing this. But I am worried that the organization might think that the result was the problem more than the process was the problem. And while, yes, maybe the Orioles shouldn't have been this bad with a relative amount of luck, I never thought this was a roster that was ready to make a next step and try to compete for winning a World Series. And it does somewhat worry me that they think that the process was okay and that they don't need a dramatically different process in the offseason. And if that's the case, I don't think the results are going to be any different next year.
So, yeah, I mean, I definitely have a problem with that type of approach, which is, hey, I'm really sorry, but it wasn't my fault and everything went wrong. Like, well, what's the apology for then? Okay, so let's just, for example, look at the Houston Astros right now. They're in first place. How many injuries have they had? Yordan Alvarez has been hurt basically all year, and he was terrible before he got hurt. Jeremy Pena was having an MVP start to the season, but he's been hurt for weeks and weeks and weeks. They have an entire stud pitching staff on the injured list. They might get 4 guys back this month, but somehow they survived that because they built up the organizational depth to be able to deal with that. The Orioles did not build up the organizational depth to be able to deal with injuries to the rotation or everybody in offense not hitting their 90th to 95th percentile. So when stuff like that goes wrong, you don't have the tools to deal with it. That is a problem because they went through that extreme rebuild for years. That's when you should be building up your organizational depth. And when you have stuff like Jordan Westberg hurt, Adley Rutschman hurt, and also not hitting the way that we thought he would, at least through the halfway point of last year. Gunnar Henderson not hitting for near as much power as he did last year. Stuff like that, like Colton Cowser not being who he was for that big stretch last year. When stuff like that goes wrong, you're supposed to have a good enough team that other people step up. And it doesn't have to be a bunch of big names, and you can't cry small market because look at the Brewers. They have right now Jackson Churrio's on the injured list, and it's Sal Frelick and Bryce Terang go absolutely bonkers. They're getting a good year from Caleb Durbin. You look at their pitching staff, they're just rolling young guys off the assembly line there. It's not just Mizraowski, it's Logan Henderson, it's Chad Patrick earlier in the year. You need to have the development in place where you can bring up guys like I said with the Brewers and a Chad Patrick type who isn't even that highly touted of a prospect, but he's tough and they get the most out of him. Why don't the Orioles have a system like that in place? Why is it one or two things go wrong and then you have a terrible rotation? Why do they not have the types of, like, Sal Frelick and Bryce Terang types that can step up when Henderson's not hitting as many home runs or Rushman's hurt and hasn't hit since the All-Star break last year. Those to me are general manager front office problems.
One of my colleagues here at Stan Charles always reminds, I'm stealing it from him, that in the Mike Elias era, they have drafted and developed all of one pitcher that has even made the major leagues. Like, that's it. And part of that is they're just simply not drafting those pitchers. It's not their priority. We know that. But is that as damning as we think? Like, that to me traipses into the argument of, does Mike Elias even deserve the opportunity to try to fix this moving forward?
Well, yeah, it's okay. If you want to concentrate only on development of hitters instead of pitchers because pitchers break, then you have to be so good at developing hitters that you can trade from your surplus of prospect currency, much like they tried to do with Rodgers in the Stowers and Norby deal. Now, maybe Rodgers is fixed now. Looks really, really good this year. But that if that's your avenue, then you need to be really, really good at it. And again, you need more wins. Like if the Rodgers thing ends up a win, which I don't know, man. Stowers looks so good. It's going to be tough.
Look, if it's this version of Trevor Rogers, like this guy's an ace, but do I know that it's going to be this version of him? I couldn't.
No, exactly. Right. And I think if you're counting on, let's go to next year and say Bradish and Grayson Rodriguez are both going to be perfectly fine along with Rodgers. Now that's a good big three. Well, that's the rose-colored glasses viewpoint. I'm worried at this point if Grayson Rodriguez is ever going to be healthy for long stretches of time.
Yep.
And Bradish coming off Tommy John surgery, you just never know there. Again, I don't have specifically a problem with it if the focus is more on position players, but there need to be more moves of that type where you end up with Rodgers and he doesn't blow up in your face like he did last year. And pitches more like he did this year. But, yeah, there need to be better systems in place. Like, I'm a Cubs fan, so I always draw on how the Cubs were built leading up to 2015 and 16. And I remember the talking points on who's going to pitch. They have too many shortstops. Well, they worked it all out. Part of it was, they signed John Lester, but part of it was making that trade for Jake Arrieta, making the trade of Ryan Dempster to the Rangers for a double-A pitcher named Kyle Hendricks. You can get by with moves like that as long as you hit on them, and you've got to hit on them.
He is Matt Snyder, CBS Sports. He's with us here on GCR. Matt, and again, I am not the person. I don't do the bit where I bang on the table and say you got to fire this guy. It's really just a question to me of like, is Mike Elias a good I don't know. Like I know that he was good at ripping it all down to studs and. Like, I know that part, and I think he drafted well. Gunnar Henderson certainly was a very good draft pick. I think even
it was.
This version.
I mean, Rushman was a no-brainer. Holiday was a no-brainer, but it was a good pull on Henderson.
But and those guys aren't superstars at the moment, right? Like even the guys that we think were a good pick. I don't know if someone said to me, is Mike Elias a good general manager or not? I don't know that I would be able to say yes. I think I'd be left in this place where I'd be like, I maybe, you know what I mean? Like maybe.
I agree. I totally agree because when you rip it down, as you said, when you rip it down to the studs, you have to be very confident that it's going to be worth it. And I think so far, most Orioles fans would say it wasn't worth it. We went through so much crap. We had two playoff teams that were really, really exciting during the year, especially 2 years ago. But then they've got no playoff wins out of it. And if you go through all that and then you're really excited to show up at Camden and cheer for playoff games and then you can't score any runs, it's like, well, why did we go through all this? And then now we're sellers again. I thought we were going through this so we didn't have to be sellers after two playoff seasons. So, it's you got to be as good at it as Luna was in Houston, which is where Elias came from. And look at the Astros right now. Like that's the model for tearing it down to the studs. If you're going to do that, you need to sustain success as long as the Astros have. And it's worrisome right now for the Orioles.
Matt, I am very pessimistic about this team's ability to fix this in turn for like next year at this time to compete to win a World Series. Like I look at the roadmap.
I don't blame you.
I say you need all of the five guys that are the core, the guys that you alluded to. They all have to be better than they are right now, including Gunnar Henderson, who I don't think has been bad this year, but he's just not been an MVP. You need an MVP caliber version of Gunnar Henderson.
Last year like he was. He looked last year like he was going to be neck and neck with like Bobby Witt Jr.
100%. And
that's what you needed. You needed that guy to be that much of a super duper star.
Then you need multiple starting pitchers, including someone who's in the top part of the rotation. You need completely revamp your bullpen in the offseason because you have nothing at this point other than presumably Felix Bautista. You need probably one more outfield bat. I have no idea who your center fielder is next season. Like, that is an awful lot to me that needs to go right. Is there a roadmap to the Orioles fixing this by the time we get to next year?
Maybe, but it all stems from you need like almost the best outcome out of so many guys, and that includes what I mentioned earlier in the rotation with Rogers, Bradish, Grayson Rodriguez all being the best versions of themselves. Then you can go out and maybe trade for somebody else. Now you've got like what looks like a very good rotation. Still not much depth there, but at least what looks like a good rotation. Bullpen, it's not easy. This is like what I always say to people about playing first base. It's not easy, but it's the easiest. Bullpen's the easiest thing to fix on the cheap. You can go out and grab like 4 or 5 guys really cheap and get the best out of them if you have good developmental systems in place. Somebody like the Brewers is exceptional at doing that. But then now you're looking at the offense, and we're talking about you need another step forward from Holiday. You need Gunnar to go back to being the guy he was last year. You need Adley at the plate to go back to the guy he was the first half of last year and before that. Then you need the best version of Westbrook, the best version of Berg, and the best version of Cowser. And you still probably need to grab somebody from outside the organization to play, as you said, center field. So a lot of things need to go right. A lot.
Other than that, man, life is good here.
Yeah, other than that, we're pretty close.
Hey, but at least they have a manager. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that. Can any of that be fixed? Like, can any of these, like, some of these other problems, to your point, that struggles the core, what we've watched on the field, these fundamental issues, could some of that just be fixed by the presence of an adult in the room? Like, I think
maybe.
Matt, I may be obsessed with what happened when Buck Showalter showed up in Baltimore, right? Like, that this was a utterly rudderless ship. I mean, this was the most embarrassing franchise of a decade, and immediately everything.
Yeah, and I remember. Yeah,
immediately. And I don't, I'm not trying to say that they need to rehire Buck Showalter, although, none of us here would be opposed. Could there be an adult in the room, that type of manager they could hire that could immediately change the culture and help to get the best out of those guys that we were talking about?
Yeah, I mean, you would like to think that there's somebody out like a Showalter or Jim Leland, somebody who comes in and cracks skulls a little bit, but like, unless you're tapping into one of those really, really old guys who doesn't seem like they're interested in managing anymore, and they might not even work in today's game anymore. Like, most of the guys nowadays are more player friendly. Like, so it's probably difficult to find somebody there. Like, that's just the way nowadays. If you grabbed a former player who played within the last 15, 20 years, most of those guys are not the type that's going to come into the locker room and crack skulls. Most guys aren't really like that anymore. So it's difficult unless you wanted to hire a retread that looks like he's probably past his prime. Even like Bruce Bochy, who's an unbelievable manager and is a maestro in the playoffs with his bullpen. He's not really known as like a big disciplinarian or anything like that. And I think Pat Murphy of the Brewers gets the most out of his guys. He has a college background, so maybe he holds the players more accountable, but you don't really see him chewing anybody out. Like Terry Francona with the Reds, you don't really see him chewing anybody out or anything. So I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody they could find that would turn some guys around.
Yeah, we're all enamored here with Skip Schumacher. Like, that's the name that keeps coming up, but everybody always reminds me he's probably going to replace Bochy in Texas, and so there's a part of it that's like, if Skip Schumacher was an option, why not just hire him 3 months ago, right? Like, why not just?
And that's the thing, like, and there are guys like, let's say Brian Snitker before he took the Braves job, Rob Thompson before he took the Phillies job. You probably have some lifers somewhere. I'm just not familiar with all the bench coaches or all the assistants or all the AAA managers personally. I'm not familiar with them. That's just
right.
I don't have the wherewithal to know all that. But you could probably unearth, if they do a good enough interview process and you know who to talk to the right people around the game, you could probably find a Brian Snitker or Rob Thompson type somewhere.
Oh, everybody here thinks that's Ryan Flaherty, former Orioles super utility man, who has been on the bench in Chicago and was in San Diego before that. Everybody here seems to think that's the answer. And look, I'm all for it. Find your manager, whatever it takes. It just really feels like right now you could use that old school ass kicker. That's the guy.
Yeah, for the rest of the year, just because even though the season's over in terms of where the Orioles are going to finish in the standings, or at least not in the playoffs, but there's still stuff that needs to happen the rest of the year. I mean, Jackson Holliday's still 21. Gunner's even only 24. So, and you're talking about if Bradish makes a comeback, how he's dealt with. If Grayson, I haven't checked the news recently, I don't know, but if Grayson comes back.
Yeah, he's out for the year.
Yeah, so, but there's still stuff that needs to happen. That's where continuity can be good, but obviously you can't really hire a manager in the middle of the year when you have an interim that you've already named. So it's a difficult situation. And again, there's, so much needs to go right before next year. I hope it does. I think it's because I grew up a Cubs fan. I always have a soft spot for tortured fan bases. And when I see what the Orioles fans were put through for 6 years there, come on, man, they've got to get some kind of reward. It's like why a part of me is rooting for the Mariners this year, because I know the Mariners fans have been through so much. I hope it gets fixed.
Man, we do too, but I am very skeptical, Matt. That's just where I'm at. At Matt Snyder, CBS is how you follow him. Of course, CBSSports.com. Matt, is there anything else we can plug for you, sir?
No, don't worry about it. I just enjoyed coming on.
Matt, really appreciate you taking the time for us. Let's do it again soon, all right?
All right, take care.
Thanks, man. Matt Snyder, CBS, with us here on GCR. Appreciate him doing that. I'm not trying to be the guy that's constantly negative and always. I just am very, very skeptical about this getting straightened out by the time we get the next year. And I think I have every reason to be that skeptical. Could it change? Yeah, 100%. Manager comes in. That's just what the doctor ordered to fix certain guys. Sure, you could lay out the roadmap, but awful lot of things have to go right. If you missed it yesterday, Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley.
Who's Ross?
Ross Grimsley. Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, and Kenny Singleton got together to talk some Orioles, talk some baseball, trade deadline, all that stuff. If you missed that show live, you can find it right now, facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Click on the videos tab. Go to youtube.com/PressBoxOnline. Or PressBoxOnline.com/video. As always, Stan's shows are brought to you by the Costas Inn. And the all-new Costas Inn now open at the Grandstand in Timonium. When we come back in, a couple of you said, hey, Glenn, I understand you don't really want to talk about the Savannah Bananas thing. I'm just wondering if you think there's anything that the Orioles can learn from the Savannah Bananas. And I would tell you no. So now we can move on. We don't need to talk about it. No.
Start doing backflips when they catch fly balls. Jeremiah Jackson.
I am. If what you're doing is, I'm not trying to suggest the people that are still trying to do some direct conversation bit between Orioles attendance and Savannah. I know there are people on Twitter that wanted me to fight with other people that were having the conversation. When I say I have no breath for it, I mean I have no breath for it. I'm not fighting with anyone. I'm not taking anyone to task. It's so banal, I cannot waste a thought on it. Presenting it another way, okay, but can they learn something from it? Well, Brittany Giroli of The Athletic thinks so, and she wrote a whole piece today about it. And I'm going to read through some of her thoughts, and we're going to talk about it. When we come back in. It is a Tuesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at DriveEasyMD.com.
Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses make golf fun and affordable. All 5 local courses, Pine Ridge, Mount Pleasant, Forest Park, Carroll Park, and Clifton Park, are challenging and fun for players of all skill levels. Book your tee time today at classic5golf.com.
This August, give your game day an upgrade at Live Casino. Enter to win an ultimate football package. We're giving away over $50,000 in game-changing prizes on Friday, August 29th. Earn entries daily for your chance to score a 100-inch TV, a state-of-the-art soundbar, and so much more. Don't sit on the sidelines. Make your play at Live Casino at Owings Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, we celebrate the first ever Baltimore basketball player to reach the Naismith Hall of Fame as we talk to those who knew Carmelo Anthony best about how his Baltimore upbringing shaped his legendary career. Also inside, Bo Smolka profiles Ravens second-round pick Mike Green and find our annual summer travel section with information on some of the best sporting events and activities in Maryland that your family can check out all summer long. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Tuesday edition of the program. CountySports.zone is the website to find everything that you could possibly need to know. We are literally just weeks, maybe days, you could say at this point, away from the start of high school sports season. And all year long, every score, every team, every sport, every part of the state, you'll be able to find it, track your favorite. You got a niece or nephew that plays out in, like, Garrett County. They've got you covered. Private schools, public schools, not just football, every sport, they've got you. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. So, yeah, I was very annoyed by... that's weird. The Savannah Bananas can sell out Camden Yards, but the Orioles, it is as breathless and wretched.
How many fans do you think the Orioles could draw at Clemson Stadium?
It is so unfathomably stupid. I can't spend the time with the art. I can't do it. Like it's like talking to someone that believes the moon is made out of cheese. Everyone knows the moon is made out of creamy nougat. Everyone knows now. I can't do it. But it was presented to me by a couple of people in a different way, and I said, I don't know. They said, okay, but could the Orioles take something from what they saw from the Savannah Bananas this weekend? Could the city learn something from it? I don't know. Brittany Giroli thinks so. Brittany Giroli, of course, covers Major League Baseball for The Athletic, former Orioles beat writer. I believe she was at MLB.com when she covered the Orioles. And Britt Giroli wrote for The Athletic, what can MLB learn from the Savannah Bananas? A lot, it turns out. Brittany was in town this weekend, still lives in the area. The sellout crowd of more than 45,000 fans at Oriole Park at Camden Yards stood on their feet, screaming and celebrating Saturday's walk-off home run. There had been a palpable buzz at the stadium all night long. It started hours before first pitch as fans packed merchandise booths and waited in food lines, the kind of lines typically only seen on opening day and in October as soon as the gates open. We'll go through, and she thinks there are lessons. She wrote 6 of them in this column about what Major League Baseball can learn from the Savannah Bananas. And I'm just going to react to them. The first lesson that she believes they can learn is fans first. As she says, that's the actual name of Cole's company, which more than lives up to its namesake. Cole has turned down what he says are, quote, stupid numbers, unquote, from outside investors, as well as a 7-figure offer from a ticket broker. Instead, the Bananas use an internal system for everything from tickets to merchandise and pay all their own fees and taxes on those items, meaning a $35 ticket is actually $35. Yes, it costs Cole money, but he said the decision was a no-brainer. I'm not trying to make quote, I'm not trying to make $1 billion, unquote, he said. Quote, I want 1 billion fans, unquote. So if the lesson that Brittany Giroli is suggesting is that tickets cost too much, yes. I'll give you a check on lesson 1. I don't know that you need to learn that from the Savannah Bananas. I think that everyone knows that there is a ticketing cost problem throughout sports and entertainment. Unquestionably. Now, it's a complicated conversation. It's one of those things that we can breathlessly say, well, the tickets cost too much. Then they're going to say, well, we have to set a value for the ticket. The ticket has to have value. We can't just make the ticket, $10, because then we're saying that's what the product is worth. Then, if the team gets good and there's demand and we charge more, then we are inflating the ticket. The ticket price has to have a value in the same way that eggs have to have a value and, everything has to have a value. They would say there's complications. We only see in profit X amount of that ticket price. This has to go towards the salaries. For what it's worth, the Savannah Bananas players do not make anything resembling what a Major League Baseball player makes. This is a bubble burst conversation that's, again, far deeper. We regularly reach a place where as salaries continue to escalate, we continue to wonder, where is that money coming from? Because the answer is the teams aren't giving it up. No one's just saying, well, I'm okay making less money so that I can pay Juan Soto to play baseball. They are passing it off. You're going to pay for that. Or corporate sponsorship or whatever we need to do in order to recoup that money. I am a big believer that athletes, everyone, should get as much as they can possibly get. At the same time, I'm the same guy who says, but I can't afford to pay it. So, yeah, it's not hard to figure out that if you can create an entertainment product where you don't have to pay the talent all that much, then the tickets don't have to cost all that much in order to afford the expenses.
So this is you saying you're in favor of a salary cap?
It's such a complicated conversation, right? As a fan, yes. As someone who believes in labor, I understand why they fight against it. Do I think that it would be good on the whole for baseball? I do, yes. For the health of baseball, absolutely. But, there's a salary cap in football. How cheap are those tickets? The money is still getting spent, even with the salary cap. I think the tickets are outrageous. Yes, I think that's part of the problem. But it's not just the tickets. It's the entire cost of the evening. It's the parking. It's all of the taxes that you have to pay. If Brittany's point is that the fees on tickets are a problem, I think we all agree with that. I have noticed more and more of, in the entertainment world, they're telling you up front, this is the total price of the ticket, including fees. More and more places are doing that. because it doesn't really change the price. It's just honest. It doesn't make the ticket any cheaper. It doesn't change ultimately what it is that you're paying. But now you know, this is the number. We're not lying to you and saying it's a $75 ticket, but then there's $60 worth of fees. We're just telling you it's a $135 ticket. Do you want it or not? I'm in favor of it being presented that way, but it doesn't change the price of the ticket either, right? Like the price of the ticket is still the price of the ticket. And the price of everything else is still the price of everything else. And that's part of the arithmetic that a lot of us do when we make the decision about how we're going to spend our money. Even if you said, well, the ticket's $25, and we're still going to say, right, but what's it going to cost me to park? And what's it going to cost me to feed my family? And what's it going to cost? Like, all of those things are still going to be done. I joked about it earlier this year, but we spent like $300 on a Sunday afternoon baseball game to watch a terrible Orioles team. And, like, that was a moment where I said, this isn't justifiable. I can't justify this. And it's not me knocking the Orioles. Like, I understand they are trying to put together a good product, but the number doesn't justify the value of what we're getting. I can't do it. Fans first, in theory, yes. I don't think that's a lesson to learn from the Savannah. I keep saying the Savannah. Like I'm adding another.
Maybe they can learn something
the
from
Savannah
you.
Bananas. I want to make it
Savannah.
I want the same number of syllables in both words. The Savannah Bananas. I don't think that's learning it from them. I just think that's we're all feeling that. Our economy stinks, except for a handful of people. They're doing very well. The rest of us.
Congratulations to those people.
Yeah, God love you. I mean, like you're doing quite well. The rest of us are struggling, and so make the tickets cheaper, 100%. But it ain't that simple because their labor costs are significantly more than the labor costs of the Savannah Bananas. Lesson number 2, Brittany Giroli says, is make pregame an event. In Banana Ball, the gates open 2.5 hours before first pitch, and there's a steady stream of player and fan entertainment that encourages people to get to the ballpark hours before first pitch and potentially buy food and merchandise too. Most MLB teams open their gates 90 minutes before night games, though select games or groups may get in 2 hours early. Most of the time, the home team is done with batting practice by then, and there's very little of anything going on other than a video blaring on the Jumbotron. Fans may catch the end of the road team's batting practice, but for young fans, there's virtually no chance of seeing their favorite players or having any pregame interactions with them.
I mean,
this is difficult. This is really difficult. Because she does go on to say, in Banana Ball, players go into the stands during the game, and while it'd be borderline irresponsible to ask Bryce Harper to mingle in the upper deck between innings, why can't stadiums open early enough for home fans to watch batting practice? That specific sentence does resonate, right? That very specific part.
They used to, right? Like, I remember when I was little, I loved getting to the game as soon as, and whenever they could. Whenever they could, my parents would, take me as early as possible so I could watch batting practice. And I remember going to a game with my buddy who was a Nationals fan, and I remember him screaming at Gio Gonzalez to get Gio Gonzalez's autograph, and he got Gio Gonzalez's autograph, and it was like it was like the best game ever.
It does it does remain complicated. That part specifically, that home team batting practice is something that fans should be able to watch? Yes. Is it really going to drive lots of people to the ballpark? No.
Not.
No. It's not. And that's part of the reason why they don't do it, is because what it does mean is you now need your staff there even earlier that day. In order to open up the entirety of the stadium, which is what you're suggesting, the entire stadium has to be staffed. So that, if someone's suffering like a medical emergency in their seats in the upper deck, you're not dealing with the fact that no one's there to witness it. It's very complicated. Like, to me, somebody would say, well, why don't you just flip the order of when teams do batting practice? Have the home team do it second so that they're the team that's doing batting practice when the gates do open. And it does sound smart, right? I asked somebody about this once, and it's like the players prefer it this way, and you always want to give the home team the comfort of being at home. What you want is what we do. Is there a way to open part of the ballpark so you don't have to have the entire ballpark staffed to just say you can come in at this time? And that's what they allude to is like certain fans, but you can only go into the picnic area. Mm-hmm. You can only go into the center field bar. You can only go into the
bleachers, maybe.
Yeah, but then those aren't your seats. So like it becomes a complicated conversation. Could the standing room only over the scoreboard? Could that be an area where you're allowed to go in? You're allowed to go in, but you're only allowed to go into these areas so that we only have to staff those areas. There's probably a happy medium that could be reached somehow to allow more fans into the ballpark. What that doesn't do is give fans the ability to go down to the first and third base lines and line up to try to get autographs from their favorite players, which is what you really have romantic feelings about from a time that's gone, is that you could go in, you could get down and ask players for baseballs and try to get autographs and things like that. And that era has just largely come and gone. The players get value for their autograph. Like autograph signings can net them significant amounts of money. So they're not interested in giving away more free autographs. It's complicated. There's security issues now. Like things have changed. I get it. It sounds good. It sounds like what we want, but what we're really asking is to reverse 30 years. Those aren't the same problems. No one can name a Savannah Bananas player. You can get the kids can get the autographs, but they're not worth any money at all. You don't have to worry about them turning around and selling them on eBay or someone hiring a group of kids to go get autographs that you can. That's not what's happening there. Those autographs are for those kids because they have no value. It sounds good, right? It sounds like, yes, that's what we want. We want more interaction between players, and yes. But the other side of the equation is real too, which is the players are saying, dude, I spent years signing autographs only to find out that some creep was paying kids to go get balls signed, and then they was putting them right up on eBay. So now what do I do? You want me to, investigate every kid? Like, hey, where's this ball going?
Yes.
It's part of the problem.
New job for you?
To the Orioles' credit, they do, with season ticket holders, days where you can come down on the field and take pictures with certain players and get autographs before certain games. They try to coordinate it in a way that becomes possible. But we're romantic about an era that doesn't exist. And there's no comparison between that and, with all respect, the Savannah Bananas. It would be like, you go to a Stevenson basketball game and you're like, wow, all these players are willing to sign autographs. Well, we're like, right, yeah. Of course. We're romantic about something that there's no comparison between the two. Could there be more pregame festivities? I think the Orioles are trying to tell you that they want to do more game-related entertainment. Like, they do want to do that. And then we make fun of them for it, right? Like, hey, we want to do an eighth-inning sing-along. That's embarrassing. You should be more like the Savannah Bananas. We're like, the sing-alongs are half of the story. Get to their credit, on Saturdays they do the bit where they have the band come and play in left center field before the games. Like, that's the day where they think more people could get to the game early. It is tough during the week. You're trying to start the games earlier at 6:30. What time can people even get there coming from work? How much effort are you putting into what you're doing pregame on a Tuesday night when you're struggling to get people to the ballpark to begin with? Are you going to start prioritizing what does the stadium look like at 3:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday? It sounds good. I'm not knocking. Again, it sounds smart, but it is much more complicated than that. She said, why can't players on the injured list and with the team be required to spend a half hour pregame signing baseballs? Again, they would give you that answer because in their mind, they're signing baseballs that are just going to end up being sold. They're not signing for the fans because there's lots of evidence of that. It's part of the difficulty. I have people keep asking me about like doing player shows again. I'm like, I want to do player shows, but it's harder and harder to get players because this is what they're dealing with. Somebody's willing to pay them a lot of money to sign autographs. We're still hopeful. I'd still like to work it out to at least do events. Like, I'm not writing it off, but I've gotten that question a lot recently. It is tough, man. It's really, really difficult to pull this off. It's a different era. The value of those things has changed. And it's a national product that just happens to be local, and that's like the difficulty of what we're talking about. Somebody could say, couldn't you work that into someone's contract and say, hey, we're paying you X amount of dollars. If you're not playing that day, then we need you to do this. And that's in your contract. The union's going to balk at that. That's not baseball. They're going to say, that's not how this works. Lesson 3, market the players better. I attended Saturday's game and was struck with how popular many of the players were. Fans were wearing jerseys with names on their back I had never heard of. My 9-year-old nephew waited more than 2 hours at a local Dunkin' Donuts Saturday morning just to meet 2 bananas and 2 firefighters. Impressed, I checked TikTok, where Banana Jackson Olsen has 2 million followers, more than MLB stars Harper and Mike Trout combined, as well as deals with Reebok and Gatorade. The Bananas have 10.5 million followers on their TikTok account, which is more than MLB's official account. A couple of thoughts on that. Anecdotally, I have no doubt that there is truth, right? I don't know how many people you'd walk around town and say, name a Savannah banana, and they would have any ability to do it. Which doesn't mean that these numbers are fake. Like, clearly they follow a lot of people on TikTok. The line between TikTok and the real world is a very difficult one to figure out, right? Like, I'm not saying it's impossible because I also recognize that I'm ancient, but you're 25. How many Savannah Banana players can you name?
Could not name any.
Right.
But I do think there's like a discussion of, people know what the Savannah Bananas are.
That part,
yeah.
100%. The Savannah Bananas concept, 1,000%.
And being big on TikTok, and if you are able to resonate with the young people, and even if it's just somehow in the back of their mind, where it's like, oh, that's right, that's the Savannah Bananas, that's the weird baseball thing.
Yeah, you're a content creator as much as you're not a baseball player as much as you're a content creator, and some of that is very real, and I don't dismiss that. Is that a marketing issue? Is that, again, those guys' job, with all due respect, is to make content? Mike Trout's job is to play baseball. It's part of the inherent problem. You have to choose to like baseball. It's something we say all the time. Make the players more market the players better. And to a large extent, yes. I agree blindly with that concept. Blindly, yes. Again, I'm not sure that the Savannah Bananas are the right comparison because I think that exists as an entity. That, like, Savannah Banana player, cool, that's fun, I'll go meet them. You would have to tell me if you can find that, like, there's a huge market for, like, Savannah Banana player signed jerseys or something like that.
Right.
Like, I don't know exactly what the line is between the two. It's not like Jeremiah Jackson, who, of course, Major League Baseball promoted yesterday. Tune in to watch Jeremiah Jackson and the Orioles on MLB TV, which is just the greatest tweet of all time. It sounds great.
I didn't see that tweet.
Oh, my God, it's the greatest tweet. How did you miss that tweet yesterday?
This was MLB TV's account?
I don't know whose account it was, but they were promoting the game being the free game on MLB TV.
Oh, wow, they did, yeah.
And they tweeted out, I don't remember who the Philly was.
Luzardo. It was Luzardo.
Yeah, watch Jeremiah Jackson and the Orioles against Jesus Luzardo and the Phillies. And it's just chef's kiss. I mean, it's the most incredible. You want to know everything about it, right? Like, was this someone's was the person an idiot who made the tweet? Or was this brilliant? Was this performance art where they were trying to take a shot at the Orioles, and so they said, I know what we'll do is we'll put the most embarrassing player on the ground. Like, I don't know what was going on here, but I want to know everything about it. I want to know the story of how they decided to try to promote Jeremiah Jackson and the Orioles. It's just my favorite thing that's ever existed. Is this an algorithm?
I know, like,
is this an AI thing?
That's
where,
what
like,
I'm thinking. Like, oh, he had a hit in the last 3 games. He's
right.
got the longest
so
hit streak
AI
in the
has decided that, like, that's the player to I want to know what the story is of how this tweet came to exist, because it's magical that this is a tweet that existed in the real world. Market the players better. Yes. But again, at the end of the day, their job...
Clearly they're fine. They're actually fine.
Their job is to play baseball. It's not to make content. And what the line is between those two things, I don't know. I don't know. The teams are trying to make the content for them. They're trying to make more TikTok videos and more things that can showcase. Some players are taking it upon themselves because they live in a world now where content is king. What's the line between those two things? I got a young, my cousin's kid is 18 and was going on to me about how he watches, he's not a golf person, but he watches all of Bryson DeChambeau's golf videos. Now, bully for him, right? Like, does that change whether or not Bryson DeChambeau is going to win? I mean, obviously, I don't know any of the tournaments on the Live Tour, but like the Masters next year, will those two things have anything to do with each other? Don't know. Baseball players might argue the more time we spend on content, the worse we are at the less time we can spend on baseball, the thing that matters. We struggle with that. Not like we've got to make TikTok videos, and that's time that Griffin could be spending working on booking guests. Like, it's a fine for me. We got to send out tweets during the day. That could be time where I'm out, meeting clients, whatever. It's a difficult line. Blindly, sure, market the players better. Is it it's really complicated. It's really complicated. Lesson 4, rethink the schedule. The Bananas don't play Monday through Wednesday. Quote, does playing a game on a Monday night in April serve our fans, unquote, Cole asked. So games are held Thursday through Sunday nights. On this world tour, Banana games are played in warm weather cities like Peoria, Arizona, and Miami, Florida until May. Major League Baseball doesn't have that luxury in a 162-game season. The Bananas will play 73 games this year. And whether the sport should cut down games is a subject for another day. Still, there has long been the idea among baseball people for a universal off day during the season, perhaps Mondays. The league can't only schedule the first half of April in domed warm cities because it would delay other clubs' home openers by so much. But there are ways to mitigate that too. How about more day games when the temperatures are higher? In the first month of the season and in the playoffs so young fans can watch games until the end. MLB and its clubs have done a better job of pushing up game times when weather is an issue, but having every Monday off would also make rescheduling postponements a lot easier. Does that interest you in any way?
I mean, yeah, because minor league baseball does that, and that kind of makes sense though. Obviously, just given the financial
they're not flying.
Yeah,
they have to take a bus.
I feel like maybe not like. I mean, obviously, I'm a baseball fan, so I love having baseball every single day.
It's part of the problem.
Yeah. I feel like maybe Thursday would make slightly more sense, just because. Well, like in terms of making postponements.
But I guess my question is, what's the benefit of the universal day off? What does that do for anybody?
Or what if they did? We're talking about trying to have that. Skeens or Skubal and Wheeler were pitching the other day. Like you try to line I don't know. Maybe you can't gerrymander it in any perfect way.
I think that Major League Baseball is
have one game on Thursday. Everybody else is off.
But what if that game sucks?
Yeah, I know. But it's NFL does it, and
I am of the opinion
you're gonna have Titans and the Colts on Thursday night at some point this year. Like, or I don't know exactly, but you know what I mean. Like,
right, that's gonna happen. But the NFL only has 16 games, or 17 games, so you're gonna watch every game. Like that's the way that it works. I think that flex scheduling is something. We talked about it yesterday. I think that at some point in the future, you're gonna say, here are all the games on a Thursday. Right? And you're going to list all of the game times for Thursday as being TBA. That's what you're going to do. You're going to say all the game times are TBA. Because you're going to go to your network partner. You're going to say to CBS or ESPN or Peacock or whoever the F it is.
MLB's going to their network.
Right.
Yeah.
What we're telling you is every week on Wednesday or on Tuesday night, you're going to choose what the game is that you want. And you're going to get it by itself, all by its lonesome, Thursday night, 7:45. And then we're going to stagger the game times for every other game. There'll be 4 o'clock games. There'll be 1 o'clock games. There'll be, maybe some. But you're going to get to pick that game, and it's going to be the only game at that time, and it's the game that you picked. And it's our marquee game, and there's a reason why it's the marquee game. Now, they try that with just matchups. Like, TBS does get the best. They try to pick games that they think people will like.
Typically get the Yankees, right?
But you're going to get, if you do it on Tuesday, you're going to get a better idea of who the pitchers are for that game, to your point. So if you get, Wheeler Skubal, if you can tell on Tuesday that's lined up for that on Thursday, and by the way, sometimes it's not going to work out, but you have more of a chance of getting that in a marquee situation. I think that type of thing might come to baseball. Certainly on the weekends, I think it's possible. But the teams don't want it. It's bad for them for market. Like, we want more people to come to the games. So there's going to be pushback to it. Could it be that Sunday night baseball becomes flex scheduling? That's the one that you could maybe work around a little bit and say, like, on Friday we can determine what the Sunday night game is this week? There's going to be pushback one way or the other, but I do think that some amount of flex scheduling. I don't know what the advantage is of a universal. What does that do? What does a universal day off do for anybody?
I guess it makes the players happy. I guess is that they.
Is it? Do they need it to be the same day every week? Are they that concerned about it being the same day? They want to have off days, but you still have to play the same number of games during the course of the season. So presumably, if one of those days every week has to be an off day, then the season has to be longer. Because there are some weeks, we know, like, where you play games every day. So now if you have to have a day off, then you're going to have a longer season. I just don't know what the benefit of the universal day off is. Other than there's no baseball. There's nothing for MLB Network to show. Like, what?
Yeah,
what are you getting from that?
In Monday, I don't know. Just for the MLB, Monday doesn't seem to be the right day either. Just that's why Thursday I feel like makes. And if you're trying to consider postponements, because if you're in a series and Tuesday gets rained out, and then you're like, well, Thursday is open. But again, and we know how much teams don't like using off days anyway.
Right.
I don't know that one does seem tough to solve.
If one of the things that she's alluding to is like, don't play afternoon games in the dead of summer, yeah, I'm listening to that, right? But it's tricky again because the players want the getaway day. They like that. They want to get to the next city already and not be arriving at 3 a.m. Like, they love that. So you're asking them to give that up? Tough thing. Is the answer. I've said for a long time that, like, there's no excuse for stadiums to be built without domes at this point. Like, it's just nonsense.
One from John. John said a shorter season would be ideal.
That part of is 100%.
No need for 160.
We all agree on that. But the teams aren't giving up dates. Like, you're just not getting them to do that. But I 100% agree. 140 game season is more than enough.
I know. I mean,
but you're not getting them to do it. Like, you're asking people to give up money. And your idea is, well, yeah, but maybe more people will go to the other games. Like, maybe, but they don't know that. They're just giving up dates. You're not getting them to do it. Lesson 5 from Brittany Giroli, get creative with the rules. Blowouts don't keep fans engaged, so Cole tweaked the rules so that to make sure the ninth inning would always matter. A team gets an individual point for winning each of the innings 1 through 8, but in the ninth, runs are unlimited.
That's how we're doing in the MLB now.
That's exactly what we want. It sounds crazy, but it works, providing more thrilling late-game heroics like it did on Saturday. There's also a 2-hour game clock, though contests are often done before then. Nope. None of that. Let me let her go on. Under Commissioner Rob Manfred, MLB implemented the pitch clock to cut out the sport's dead time, a move that has received almost universal praise. Correct. Last year, Manfred noted the sport is considering more rule changes, including the, quote, golden at-bat, unquote, which got some buzz at the owners' meetings. That's a page right out of Cole's playbook. In Banana Ball, the golden batter rule allows a team to send any hitter to the plate in any spot once per game. The pitch clock was just the beginning. MLB has been open to many rule changes and adjustments, and they should be. In an era of 3 true outcomes, walk, strikeout, and home run, getting the ball in play and showcasing the player's athleticism, speed, and defense is exciting. So, yeah, the stuff that you allude to about what the Savannah Bananas are doing, no. Hell no, under no circumstance. with all due respect. But the greater point of you can always consider tweaking rules, of course. As I said before, I reacted the same way everybody else did to the extra inning rule when it was suggested. And then I watched it, and it was awesome, and I loved it, and it may never go away. I'm always going to listen. I do think baseball is going to think about like what that home run swing-off looked like at the All-Star game, and could that be a thing? Maybe you play one inning of the current extra inning rules, and then say if the 11th, if it's still tied, then let's do the home run swing-off thing. I think there is plenty of time, but not to where you are fundamentally altering the sport as we know it. Baseball still has to be baseball. If people don't like baseball, you can't win them. When you start changing the sport, never going to work. The win the inning thing, nope. No way, no how, no sir, no thank you. A 2-hour clock, nope, not a chance. Although what was the Friday Orioles-Cubs game?
Would have cleared it by
a half an hour. No, absolutely not. But continuously, particularly the extra innings thing. As I said before, you played a 9-inning baseball game. Whatever you do after that, to an extent, you played your 9-inning baseball game. Teams didn't win. You had a baseball game to win the game. After that, we're going to change the rules a little bit. I've realized that's okay. I don't want a ghost runner on second base in the 9th inning. I love the ghost runner on second base. I don't want it in the 9th inning. That's contrived. At some point, you either like sport or you don't. Sport might not be for everybody. So, with all respect, Savannah Bananas are sports entertainment. They're not sport. You can say, well, the games aren't fixed. I don't know, man. Or I don't know what the definition of that word is. Is there not a script? No, I don't think there's a script. But are the games fixed? To some extent, the games are fixed. Because they're shows. They're not games. You can't bet on them. It's a show.
Maybe you should be.
Yeah. I mean, WWE's a show, and you can bet on that. So I guess maybe you can bet on shows sometimes. But I'm listening on, hey, the current product's not great. There's a reason why I was enamored with the Ghost Runner on second, because like I like the idea of bunting and guys running and stealing bases, and all of those things are things that we've loved about baseball. The engagement rule, I haven't really had beef with that.
Barely. I mean, yeah, if Ellie De La Cruz is on first base, you notice, but yeah, like that's the only time.
The idea is you wanted things that were more throwing over 10 times was not beneficial to the sport. It probably always should have been a rule. It's something that, like, when the game was invented, they should have looked at and said, but what we really don't want is just 20 throws over to first base. We do need to get to the baseball part again. So the engagement rule to me has been fine. I'm listening on those things until it fundamentally changes the sport. And then lesson number.
Go ahead. I know we got to.
Go ahead.
Break, but how if you decreased 100 from 162 games, doesn't that kind of fundamentally change the sport?
You're saying because of the records and things like that. We've been through that a million times, right? Like the games, there used to be 144 games per season, and then we inflated it to 162, and that fundamentally changed the records. We did it in football a couple years ago, like
yeah, I know
16 to 7. We do it all the time.
Yeah, it was football.
Yes, it's going to impact records. 100% it's going to impact that. If you decrease the number of baseball games, no one's ever going to break Barry Bonds' single-season home run record. But the truth is, nobody's really going to do that anyway.
Or we legalize.
Yeah, right. Or we super steroids. We get like the
legalize steroids.
Yeah, we've gone from steroids to extra. Yes, it will impact records eternally, but that's collateral damage in trying to get the correct product that is best for the sport, for the fans, for everybody. You would accept some collateral damage. And lesson number 6, remember why you started. Some readers who have made it this far probably view the Bananas as the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. That comparison irks Cole, who points out that his players are very competitive on the field and that every night is a different show. But the Bananas have more than 3 million fans who have submitted information to the team's ticket wait list, so MLB should be paying attention. That part irks me. That's where you traipse into some of the dumb things people have said. If the Savannah Bananas played games like they would not have a 3 million person wait list. If they played 80 games in the same city every year.
I think she does say that in the next line.
Oh, does she?
Yeah. But
sort of. She sort of says that. Yeah. Some of what the Bananas are doing is impossible to replicate. Everyone wants to see the show, and it's only in town 1 or 2 nights a year. Correct. But it nullifies what you said previously. That wait list exists specifically because you can't see it. But baseball may be barreling towards another lockout. MLB's current collective bargaining agreement with its players expires after the 2026 season. Manfred has been meeting with players about a potential salary cap, and the relations between players in the league are already contentious. If it's not careful, MLB may find that fans have moved on, perhaps in favor of another brand of the game that is a little lighter on the wallet. No. Banana Ball is wacky, but it's also a competitive brand of baseball that prioritizes fun and fan experience. Isn't that what professional sports were supposed to be about in the first place? No. Is there a point where we'll reach a place where we don't care about seeing it's a very interesting conversation to me. In an era where young people like watching people play video games, will we get to a point where no one will ever be interested again in seeing the people that are the best in the world at what they do compete against each other and the other people that are the best in the world at what they do? Will we reach that one day? Maybe. But that's as hyperbolic gets. Well, if there's a lockout, people might just decide they want to watch the Savannah Bananas and never watch real baseball. Stop it. Stop. And that's not a knock. Brittany's trying to say something thoughtful, but there's nothing there. Will a lockout be detrimental to baseball? 100%. But pretending like the sport is hanging on by a thread, pretending like Major League Baseball is, I don't even know what's a fledgling professional sport at the moment.
To a lockout,
it's not going to be good. No one's arguing that. It's bad for baseball if it happens. But pretending like this is going to be the death of baseball, stop it. Stop. This is hyperbole for hyperbole's sake. It's not good. It hurts. All of things are 100% true. My kids still want to go out and play catch because they still like baseball. And inevitably, watching the best baseball players play baseball is something that we're going to want to do. I get it. Culture is shifting. We want our dessert before our dinner. I understand. That's why people like watching people play video games. It's not real, but pretending like we're 90 that and 10 this. But we saw what the ratings were for the Scooble game the other day. They were great. The ratings, ESPN had tremendous ratings for Sunday Night Baseball. We're pretending like baseball is dying. It's not dying. There were lots of people at the game in Philadelphia last night on a Monday night. Looked like a damn near sold out crowd.
I mean, yeah, that's the other thing. The solution for everything.
The solution is be good. Be good. People will want to be there. Be good. Control the weather. And I mean that. It sounds silly, but you guys are choosing because of romantic feelings. I say you guys. It's not you. It's the teams. Because of romantic feelings that you have about, well, this is the way it's supposed to be. You're spitting in the face. More people to come to the games. Control the weather. Put a dome on the stadium. Way easier to get people to go to a baseball game in Arizona in the summer than it is in Baltimore. Because if you go to the game in Arizona in the summer, you're in an appropriate climate. You go to the game in Baltimore in the summer, you're swamp ass. We're thinking too hard. Control the climate. Stop building stadiums where weather is going to be an issue and then saying, I don't understand why we're having a hard time getting people to come to the games. Because 6 hard asses are like, you should want to be at football games in December when it's 4 degrees outside and your snot's frozen inside your nose.
Well, you should be. Okay.
It's idiocy. It's lunacy, the way that we talk about this. Well, here's the obvious answer. Well, yeah, but we can't do that. Why not? Because your granddad didn't go to games inside with a dome.
Fair.
And because we do argue that it changes what we love about ballparks, and that's true. People like the look of the stadium in Baltimore, the stadium in Pittsburgh. It's great. But then you saw it. The look was wonderful. And then you actually had to physically go to a game on a Sunday afternoon and sit on the first base line when the sun is trying to murder you. And you said, yeah, I don't really care what the stadium looks like anymore. I think I'm gone. Control the weather and be good. Yeah. Those are the two things. Take a break, come back and wrap it up. Glenn Clark Radio.
For fans of the Costas Inn, and who isn't, I have some great news. Now there's a second location to go along with 4100 North Point Boulevard. This one is at the Timonium OTB. This is Stan the Fan, and I have been a fan of the Costas Inn and Triantafalo's family for going on 30 years. They're open for lunch and dinner, same great Costas feel, same great menu and quality food you've been enjoying for well over 50 years. The exact address on your GPS is 2200 York Road, and their phone number at the new location is 667-406-1970. If you're new to the Costas experience, get ready for a real treat. All wrapped up in a new spacious dining room in Timonium at the OTB. If you want steamed crabs, you have them, and the full menu at 4100 North Point Boulevard. The number for reservations there at Costas, 410-477-1975.
This August, the PGA Tour's best are coming to Maryland. The 2025 BMW Championship tees off August 12th through 17th at Caves Valley Golf Club in Owings Mills. See the top 50 players battle it out in the penultimate event of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Don't miss your chance to witness world-class golf, fan experiences, and unforgettable moments. Tickets are on sale now at BMWChampionship.com. The BMW Championship, where legends take the lead.
This August, give your game day an upgrade at Live Casino. Enter to win an ultimate football package. We're giving away over $50,000 in game-changing prizes on Friday, August 29th. Earn entries daily for your chance to score a 100-inch TV, a state-of-the-art soundbar, and so much more. Don't sit on the sidelines. Make your play at Live Casino at Owings Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from driveeasymd.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at driveeasymd.com.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Want to improve your golf game or learn to play for the first time? The Baltimore Golf Academy has fun, instructional programs for the beginner golfer to everyday players. The Baltimore Golf Academy can take your game to the next level. Enroll today at baltimoregolfacademy.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, winding down here for a Tuesday edition of the program. Today's show has also been brought to you by Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, Frederick and Columbia. I've been using peptide treatments. It has just given me a little bit of a boost. As a man of a certain age, started to feel sluggish, a little run down, not like myself, and Game Day Men's Health has really been a godsend in just trying to it's not I'm not trying to pretend like it's a miracle or like suddenly I'm going to go out and, you know, compete in even for the Savannah Bananas. I'm not going to do that. But I just feel a little bit better, and that goes a long way. 443-264-4454 for Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills. In Columbia, you can give them a call, 443-266-3505, or out west in Frederick, 240-931-3717. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Complimentary testosterone test. Figure out if you're low T, if you've been dealing with issues in the bedroom, you got stubborn belly fat that just won't come off. They've got solutions for you. Game Day Men's Health. What you got for tidbit?
We got another 2021 for you since after Julio. He homered on Sunday? Yeah, he homered on Sunday. So Julio was in the 2020 club for the first time, or in his first 4 seasons. First player ever to join the 2020 club.
Well, how about that?
In his first 4 seasons. Randy Arozarena has already reached those marks this season. So the Mariners have 2 players with 20 homers, 20 stolen bases. And they are just the 4th team, or it's the 4th duo to ever do this through the team's first 113 games.
So specific. God, that's so specific.
First time it happened since 1998 with the Toronto Blue Jays.
All right, so give me the numbers one more time.
2 players in the 2020 club through their first 113 games.
It's the first time since the
98 Blue Jays.
98, so that's post-Alomar. That's... God.
Yeah, I didn't even know this guy ever played for the Blue Jays. The one of them.
Great.
Maybe I should have. I don't know, but I remember him. I remember him as an athletic. And maybe remember is even not the proper word to use because I never saw him play. But I knew him as an athletic.
You knew him as an athletic. Because
it was 98. It wasn't. Wasn't exactly around.
Well, yeah, I got it. I get what you're saying is that you're young, but I'm still struggling with who would have been.
This wasn't even supposed to be my big one, but
this wasn't even supposed to be your big one.
Should I just give it to you then?
I guess.
98 Blue Jays. Sean Green.
And
Jose Canseco.
Well, I remember Jose Canseco was a Blue Jay, but I'm surprised he was still stealing bases
Barely
like that at that point in his career.
20 steals through 113
I thought at that
games.
point he was just doing one thing.
The 96
You
Colorado.
don't think of Sean Green as a big base stealer either. Like that's kind of surprising.
This was the time when everybody was doing everything, right? So
I
they were
guess.
just like,
I don't know.
96 Colorado Rockies as well with
Dante Bichette.
Yep, Dante Bichette and
probably not Larry Walker. Probably
I've never heard of this guy.
Probably not Vinny Castilla. 1996, you said? 96? It's not Andres Galarraga.
No. Figure out why I would have. He started with the Red Sox, and then he spent 5 years with the Rockies after.
Ellis Burks?
Yeah.
I don't think of him as a base stealer either. I mean, he was a hell of a player, but I don't think of him as a base stealer.
And then the back-to-back years, the 87 and 88 Mets did it with
Mookie Wilson?
No.
I keep wanting the answer to be. I really want Darryl Strawberry.
Strawberry and
Howard Johnson.
Okay. Yes. They did it back-to-back years. So I mean it's 12:30, but I guess I could save it.
Just whatever.
So Julio's already at 4 seasons.
I was really thinking that next week would be the week that we would test the 1 hour shows. And then we would start after that. Like next week wouldn't be a commitment. It would just be a test of the 1 hour shows. We can't even do a 2 hour show right now. God.
Julio's already at 4 seasons of 2020.
Part of the problem is we didn't have any guest book, and so we just lined up everybody. We just started throwing out. That's part of the issue is we got to do a better job of having things lined up so we're not panicked and calling everyone. Go ahead.
Most seasons of 2020, there are 10 guys who have done it 6 times. Julio's already at 4. But
most 2020 seasons all time.
10 guys with 6.
Okay. Ricky Henderson.
Nope.
I'm not stunned, but we always think that Ricky Henderson. We're always he hit more home runs than you realize that he did, though. How about Jose Ramirez?
Jose Ramirez, I don't believe is there yet.
Well, son of a bitch.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry,
he
7. Yeah. Sorry. I believe he is the only contemporary, the only active player on this list.
Willie Mays.
Willie Mays is on the list. 6 for Willie.
Barry Bonds.
Yes, Barry Bonds is on the list. I believe he is one of the 2 with 10.
Bobby Bonds.
Bobby Bonds, the other
Oh, that's cool.
Only other player
That's
with
cool.
10 2020 seasons. Barry.
I mean,
and
I know
Bobby
that we don't
Bonds.
love Barry Bonds, but that is a neat. A-Rod.
A-Rod is on the list. 6 seasons for A-Rod.
How about Hank Aaron?
Hank Aaron is on the list. Also 6 for Henry
Carlos
Aaron.
Beltran.
I think he was 7 as well for Carlos Beltran, as Eduardo Perez will pronounce it. Ricky hit 20 home runs 3 times.
Mike Trout.
Not Mike Trout. Jose is the only active player. Did you see that cool picture of over the weekend? Apparently the Guardians did $2 beers or something pregame only though. So people,
and they had I did see everybody in their Jose Ramirez jerseys
Every single person
with
wearing a
just
Jose Ramirez
hundreds of empty beers in front of them. I did see that picture. Should I say Darryl Strawberry because he's been the answer to? Damn. No. I was really hoping I was going to get bailed out.
Mike Trout's
on that
at
one.
5, by the way. Strawberry had 5 as well.
Son of a bitch. All right, you might have to start giving me something.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 are a little tough. 3 left. One guy, one of the guys you're missing has 9 2020 seasons, and he is not a Hall of Famer yet. It doesn't seem like he's gonna get in. He's currently on the ballot.
Currently on the ballot, doesn't seem like he's gonna get. Oh, Bobby Abreu.
Yep, Bobby Abreu. 9 2020 seasons for Bobby Abreu.
That's why Stan keeps screaming about him.
Only 2 guys with more are named Bonds. And then the other 2, all right, one guy has he has a son who played in Major League Baseball. He was on the 2015 Royals.
Him or
World
his
Series.
his
son? His son was.
That's I know who that. It's it was Raul Mondesi.
Raul Mondesi, yes, had 6 2020 seasons. And
it was what Alberto.
Yes. Alberto.
Yeah, something like that. It's not. We don't care.
And then our Cincinnati Red.
Cincinnati Red.
Adalberto.
Cincinnati Red.
Started with the Reds. Yeah, played 7 seasons there. Then won a World.
Barry Larkin?
No, not Barry Larkin. He didn't. Was
Wasn't
on the 90 Cincinnati Reds World Series.
90 Cincinnati Reds. I don't think it's Hal Morris. I don't think it's Chris Sabo.
No, he played 2 years with the Orioles.
Oh, Eric Davis.
Eric Davis.
Yes. Oh, Orioles legend Eric Davis.
Eric Davis had 7 2020 seasons. That's your list of 10.
Eric Davis was everybody's favorite because he got, I think it was colon cancer while he was an Oriole, and he came back and it was there, got back in time for the playoffs, and it was just inspiring. Man, I loved Eric Davis. All in on Eric Davis. I was really sad when he signed with the Cardinals. That was a very sad day for me. All right, very good. Let's get tubular.
Okay, everybody, it's going to be quick today.
What was the main focus today, Coach?
Fundamentals, ball control. It's always huge.
Any early thoughts on the competition this year?
Well, look, this is the best of the best players in the world. It's going to be an amazing tournament.
Tournament?
Yeah, the BMW Championship at Caves Valley. What are you guys talking about? All they ever ask me about is football.
Here is what's coming up for tonight, totally tubular-wise, and it's a lot like last night. There's the Orioles. Dean Kramer, Taijuan Walker, 6:45 on Masson up in Philadelphia.
Maybe if you're around, come say hi to me at the Hampstead Carnival.
Oh?
I'm just going to be there.
What are you doing?
I don't know. I just like the carnival.
You're just going to the carnival.
What else? What
Okay.
do you want to do tonight?
Okay. I'll probably watch the Orioles like a buffoon. Well, I'll watch the tennis because they're down to the
Of course, yes, the tennis.
The rest of the quarterfinals and the Canadian. I don't. It's called the National Bank Open. Whenever my sons ask me what it is that I'm watching, I just call it the Canadian Open because it's. I don't need to go dive into the, like corporate sponsorships and explain whether or not they're like. So is this like the Australian Open? I'm like, well, kinda, because it's the big Canada Championship for the year. Anyway, baseball tonight, Masson 2, Athletics Nationals 6:45, TBS Reds Cubs at 8:05. Free game on MLB TV is White Sox Mariners at 9:40, MLB Network Cardinals Dodgers at 10:10. Monumental Mystic Sky at 8 o'clock, NBA TV Wings Liberty at 7, CBS Sports Network Fever Sparks at 10. Any of the games that you can't watch on national TV, you can watch for free on WNBA League Pass. That's free tonight. Tennis Channel, as I mentioned, National Bank Open tonight. The coverage starts at 3. But most of that's double stuff. Like the single stuff is tonight. Fox Sports soccer. It's like random soccer stuff. They call it the Leagues Cup, and then the CW for WB NXT at 8.
Freaking Pirates, or I guess I should blame the Giants, screwing me out of a win in fantasy. At Verlander, streamed Verlander in fantasy, and because it's kind of iffy because he's been bad, but he was playing the Pirates, so I picked him up. Didn't give up any runs to the Pirates in the 5 innings he pitched, and then the bullpen blew it in the 9th inning, and the Pirates walked off against the Giants.
Know a thing or two about bullpens blowing things.
Terrible. Fred Armisen and J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, will be on Stephen Colbert tonight.
They are, of course, plugging the WNBA League Pass.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Cool. Big
yes, it's free.
Fans.
They want everyone to know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Chance the Rapper and Lin-Manuel Miranda will be on Fallon.
Fantastic Four.
Why?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was good. They wanted everybody to know.
Interesting. Hard Knocks, of course, is tonight. The Buffalo Bills.
Sure.
Buffalo Bills training camp. Season 20 of Hard Knocks is at 9 o'clock tonight on HBO. Hulu has one that could be for you, for a book club or for you. Capturing Their Killer, The Girls on the High Bridge. Docuseries on the 2017 murder of 2 girls in Delphi, Indiana. Oh, it's Carroll County, Indiana. And it was some crazy dude, he smeared their blood on trees and stuff, at the crime scene. It was pretty.
I believe you.
So that's on Hulu. And then Netflix has an SEC football docu series.
Yeah.
Any Given Saturday, and it just follows the 2024 SEC season. Looks solid. I mean,
maybe
it's football.
Maybe.
I can't imagine it'll be bad. But yeah, a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, give or take, of the SEC season. So that's on Netflix.
All right, very good. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's go. Thanks today to Mike Yam from NFL Network. Thanks to Matt Valdez. Thanks to Will Carroll and to Matt Snyder from CBS. We'll get all that up in the greatest hits section of the
Galveston.
We just not even trying. Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com.
We miss
not
the NBA.
even trying.
We miss the
tomorrow, no Drew. You say?
No Drew.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
no. Oh, I'd say cancel. Just
no.
Do we have any guests?
We do. Yeah. Michael Lombardi will join us.
Even though Drew's not going to be here?
Yeah, even though Drew's not going to be here.
That's
he
weird.
said, I was like, Drew Forrester, he will be interviewing you, Mike, by the way. And he was like, perfect. Otherwise, I
was rooting for that. Okay.
But he changed his mind.
So.
And Rod Woodson as well.
Oh, Rod Woodson's joining. Again, even without Drew?
Without Drew.
That's strange.
I was waiting until the last possible second.
Yeah, right? I would just not tell him at all. In fact, if you want to do a fake Drew voice, hey, Rod, have you heard the one about Will Likely? You can do that. That wasn't a good Drew voice. I have no idea why I did that. All right. Thanks today
Keep
to
working on it. Yeah.
I'll get there. Thanks today to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including the Maryland 5-Star, Game Day Men's Health, Live Casino and Hotel, BMW Championship, Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, Baltimore's Classic 5 Golf Courses, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Costas Inn, Maryland Sports, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Tuesday evening. Do we stop saying it?
Well,
Do we just abandon
I think
it?
We're still rooting for him. Are we? I mean, yeah. Because we want, Gunner to be good, right?
Yeah, but they don't have to win. He could just hit 5 home runs. And
yeah.
Go Birds. Duke sucks.